Okay, and we are live here today with Jack Sarfatti. This is the Hard Truths podcast with Ashton Forbes. Today, my guest is Dr. Jack Sarfatti, legendary physicist who's an author and author of multiple scientific papers advancing the concepts of quantum mechanics and discovering the secrets of consciousness. Dr. Jack Sarfatti, thank you very much for being here today.
Nice to be here with you, Ashton.
So,
Even though I didn't agree about your what is that thing called? The thing that disappeared. Maybe it disappeared. I don't know. But
the
I don't
MH370
know.
videos, yeah, we can talk about those
Oh,
later if you want.
370 video. Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
jump in though. Let's get right into the
Yeah,
politics. I know everybody wants to
yeah.
hear about the politics here today.
All right.
So, what are your political thoughts? Go ahead, Jack.
Okay. I want I want everybody to know about this important new book by my friend, and we're almost brothers. We know each other for like half 50 years. Oh my God, how long is it? Almost 50 years, probably 50 years. Yeah, Michael Savage. And I mean, basically, we're in great danger. The America, I believe, is now a communist country. We are under communist domination. The Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party of Harry Truman. Well, I remember World War II. I was born in 1939, so I remember Harry Truman very well, even though it's like 5, 6, 7 years old. I can remember Harry. I remember him playing the piano. I remember him getting pissed off. I remember Harry getting pissed off with somebody from the New York Times, some shithead from the New York Times, that liberal piece of crap propaganda thing. Well, it was better back then.
Yeah.
And somebody and you know, this guy, a columnist or something from New York Times, I forget his name. He criticized his daughter's piano playing, and Truman just said, "You son of..." Truman wanted to punch him in the nose. This is the president of the United States. He was a character, so everybody liked. I mean, I like Harry Truman. I remember Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Mhm.
How everybody loved FDR, though. Found stuff about him that wasn't so good later on, but yeah, we're all very patriotic, and and I remember, of course, JFK,
Mhm.
when he was killed. But the Democrat Party today is not the Democrat Party of before. In fact, uh, John F. Kennedy would be considered, a right-wing terrorist by the communists in the White House. Um, it's getting bad. I mean, now we have the FBI. The
Mhm.
FBI is knocking on people's doors for what they're posting on social networks. It's the Stasi.
What
And
would you
yeah,
say to the
it's the
people that
Stasi.
say that Trump is a fascist? How would you respond to those kinds of claims?
Okay, now you have to understand something. Everybody who says Trump is a fascist, they're the fascists. And this is the playbook. I forget the guy's name, Sal Olinsky, who Hillary Clinton was like a protege, a devotee of Sal Olinsky. And in Sal Olinsky, in his Rules for Radicals, it's the 60s. And I was part of that whole thing.
Mhm.
And I was brought up, I was brought up with all the lefties. All my friends' parents were communists. In the 30s, they were, card carrying communists, literally, like the Rosenbergs, things like that.
Yeah.
So Alinsky says, accuse your opponent of what you were guilty of. They're the
Projection.
fascists. Well, what's a fascist? They're putting what's it, John Eastman? They're putting him in jail for what? And Hunter Biden walks like he's the son of the mafioso. Hunter, the crack addict, the piece of shit, pedophile.
What would you say to the people
Fuck
that they're
him.
saying that they're protecting democracy by arresting
The one
people that
there.
are threatening it? What would you say
Okay,
to that?
if you've
Yeah.
read, they're doing just the opposite. Just what I said.
Mhm.
Just the opposite. You read George Orwell, 1984. That's where we're in. We're in Oceania right now. They're the Ministry of Truth. Okay.
Yeah. So.
And if people want to ask me, I mean, I can provide all kinds of details because I was part of it. I grew up in this thing.
Mhm.
And I grew up, with like Bernie Sanders, those people, New York City. Um, yeah, I was part of I was the New York Times. They called me the countercultural physicist. The New York Times back in the 60s, and they look at how the hippies saved physics. I went to an Ivy League school, was in the Peace and Freedom Party. helped create the Peace and Freedom Party in San Diego. Who's the guy? Yeah, was involved with getting my Biden vote. I'm 84 years old, right? So who's the who's that black woman with it'll come to me. All right.
That's
I
fine.
don't want to freeze. I don't want to freeze like
So,
McDonald. Like
so
McDonald.
are you saying that
McDonald.
there's kind of a propaganda war and information war going on right now? Would you say that we're in World War III right now already?
You're kidding me, right? I mean, you're not saying it's strong enough that there isn't. I mean, it's obvious that there is, right?
Yeah.
You're being sarcastic, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to press you a little bit on your convictions.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what would you say though to the people that say like that? We need to censor misinformation and
Yeah,
disinformation because
okay.
it's
Well,
harmful to people. What would you say about that?
yeah. Well, that's first of all, they are the enemies. They are the real enemies of it. They're trying to destroy the Constitution of the United States. That's they're destroying the First Amendment. They want to, of course, destroy the Second Amendment, but that's the First Amendment. But let me just quote a little bit from
Sure.
Michael's book. Uh, just read let me just read some of the chapter headings to get an idea. It says the Civil War is here. The Biden bait and switch, the leftist insurgency, Stalinist Biden, the new kulaks, the real armed insurrection, a post-constitutional society. In any case, if you go on my x.com Twitter feed, I've put in some important excerpts from this book. And actually, people in live stream in the chat, they could look on my Twitter feed and ask questions based on what I posted here. So
Okay.
let's continue.
So, what do you think? Do you
And
think that there's a foreign influence in our government? Would you say, or do you think it's mostly just from our own
no,
officials?
it's the enemy within. It's not Vladimir Putin. That's
Yeah,
bullshit.
that was going to be my
By
next
the way,
question. Go ahead.
yeah, no, it's not Vladimir Putin. First of all, let me explain something. Vladimir Putin is not the enemy of the United States. The enemy of the United States are the people sitting in the White House right now, and people are, they're the enemy within.
Do you think they think
Vladimir,
they're the enemies themselves from their own mindset, or do you think
no,
that
of
they think
course,
they're the
no,
heroes?
of
Yeah.
course not. Of course not. They're all brainwashed. They're mostly brainwashed. Now, if you want to, what may be okay, listen. Half the country, half of the United States are so crazy. And I mean the people in the White. I mean mainly the Democrats. Not all Democrats. I mean, I'd be very happy with RFK. I'd be happy with RFK Jr. I may not agree with everything RFK Jr. says, but he's an intelligent man. He's an honest man. He says what he thinks, and he's risking his life, for the country. He's a real patriot. Yeah, I may not agree with everything he says about COVID. I'm not sure because I'm not a doctor. I don't involve myself in the COVID controversy because I know the limits of my own expertise, and that's not one of them. Yeah, I talk about the physics. Okay. So ask me the question. Oh, who's the enemy? So
Yeah.
okay, Russia. Okay, Russia. Modern Russia is not the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was a legitimate enemy. Okay, they were legitimate, but Vladimir Putin is not Stalin. He's not Hitler. Anybody says Putin is Hitler is either very stupid and very ignorant and doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, has no idea of the history of anything, or does know and is a liar, and is an evil liar, lying bastard. Okay.
Did you see the interview between Putin and Tucker Carlson?
Of course I saw it.
What were your thoughts on that?
It was great. I mean, okay, I agree on that interview. I agree with Scott Ritter's analysis of the interview that Tucker did not really do his homework.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the time that Putin's like says, "Look, who's this schmuck?" I mean, you got to understand something. The Russians in general, the people in charge in Russia, are very smart people. They know their history. Mm-hmm. They have a long view. Okay, these are what the old KGB serious persons. our people are idiots in comparison. It's like they're playing, they're playing what, four-dimensional chess, and Biden can't even figure out tic-tac-toe. You know,
Well, what?
I mean, Biden. I feel sorry. Look, but it's a crime. The reason Biden is staying in power because Biden knows that if Trump gets back in, Trump will do to Biden what Biden's doing to Trump. Lawfare, right? Okay,
Pendulum always swings
you
back
reap
the other
what,
way, right?
yeah, it'll go the other way. And the point is, Biden really has committed crimes. Trump hasn't done anything really. I mean, all this thing with the fraud, with inflating the value of Mar-a-Lago and Trump, whatever the hell that is. First of all, they all do it. No, and nobody was hurt by it. Nobody was defrauded. Everybody made money.
Yeah.
The banks made money. Plus, there's a disclaimer. There's a disclaimer in the contracts that when Trump or any other real estate person, tries to get a loan, there's always a caveat, and the bank does their own evaluation. They don't depend on that. So this is all bullshit. It's all like it's a Stalinist. It's right out of Stalin. We're a banana republic.
I read that Jon Stewart. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going, sir. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jon Stewart. Is he that asshole from
The Daily Show?
CNN?
Comedy Central. Yeah.
He's a piece of shit, man. They're all a piece of shit. I mean, okay. Yeah.
Well,
listen.
Go on, keep going.
What's the actor? De Niro. Well, I like De Niro. I come from the same hood as De Niro. We're about the same age, actually. And actually, I used to hang out with Francis Ford Coppola. When he was doing The Godfather, all that stuff in San Francisco.
Great movie.
So you how De Niro comes on about Donald Trump, being an evil bastard. Okay, De Niro, you and I, we should get a debate. Me and De Niro. You want to talk Goodfellas? You want to talk Goodfellas? I grew up in Flatbush in the 50s. My grandfather was a friend of Sam Cohen, right? Okay, you want to talk Goodfellas? I'll talk Goodfellas with you.
So,
okay. But, all right, let's go.
So, no, you're doing great. I like it. So, going back to the Vladimir Putin interview, there's a couple of aspects of it that I want to discuss with you. One will segue into our next conversation. The first is, what do you think about the whole question about the Nord Stream pipeline and how Putin responded, saying that it wasn't necessarily cost beneficial to get into a propaganda war with the United States? You say that the Russian people are, their government officials are a lot smarter than ours. How do you reconcile that with the idea that the United States potentially has a better propaganda apparatus or more control over the media than Russia does? And do you agree with that assessment?
Well, I don't know. The question is a little broad here. Just let me try to understand the question.
Sure.
When you're saying, does America control its own propaganda? Sure. It doesn't control the Russian. Doesn't control the Russian. Okay. Does Russia control us? No, I wish they did. No, they don't. Okay, Nord Stream. Let's first up Nord Stream. Biden ordered the Nord. It was about what's his name? The guy Hirschfeld, the guy who wrote the article. Biden weeks before said he was going to blow it up. And he did. We blew it up. I mean, Putin's not going to blow up his own pipeline. All Putin has to do is switch. If he doesn't want the gas to go to Germany, he just switches it off.
Yeah, the media made everybody think that, we might have, or they might have done it to themselves, which seems kind of nonsensical in my opinion.
So fucking anybody who believes that is some of the Brooklyn Bridge. I mean, that's so fucking stupid. How could you be so stupid to think that? That's that's idiocy.
Well, what about his claim? Keep going, sir. Sorry, I apologize for interrupting.
Go ahead.
What do you think about Putin's claims about super soldiers and hypersonic weapons? Why do you think he's talking about that so openly in the interview with Tucker Carlson?
That's all true.
Yeah. So
in fact, we have a super soldier program here. In fact,
really?
There's this guy. Who I know, who is one of those super soldiers. He's genetically modified.
Yeah.
We've had that started in the 80s. Yeah, in fact, when I was in the 1980s, I was being paid by a chief of station of the Central Intelligence Agency, Harold Shipman. And Chip wanted me. He introduced me to this guy Joe Peoples. These were people involved in Iran-Contra. with what's the colonel? What's that guy? The Marine guy. I
Yeah.
think his name. Any case, they wanted me to go to this facility in New Mexico. I think it was in New Mexico. It's a mountain where they were doing, among other things, they were doing the genetic experiments for the super soldiers.
Hmm.
Okay. And recently I met one of these kids. He's in the military. Actually, his father worked with General Milley, Mark
I
Milley.
saw the picture. I don't remember his
And
name, but yeah, I saw when you were posting
yeah,
about this.
yeah, so yeah, Michael. And
Yeah,
he's
Michael.
clearly genetically enhanced. And I know he knows he is. His mother was there. His mother was his mother was part of that program. She worked at Los Alamos and stuff like that. But and he was he's done tours in Iraq, Afghanistan. He was a soldier, and he got seriously injured. War. I don't know if it was a war injury, but he healed very quickly.
Really?
They're like nano. Okay, he's healed. So he's genetically modified.
Yeah, I was going to
There's
ask,
no question he's.
is it mental or is
Huh?
it physical enhancements or both or what do you
Well,
think of
it's
that?
definitely he looks a little bit like the Bulk, like the Hulk, the Hulk,
I saw a picture. He's huge. He could play linebacker.
yeah. Oh yeah. And but the point is, we know he's genetically enhanced because of his healing. They have. In fact, what am I talking about? What am I talking about? Because my sister-in-law, I'm not going to name her. My sister-in-law works in that area. They have all this new way of quick wound for wounded soldiers. If they get wounded on the back, to reconstruct them. So all that's true. And of course, the Russians are, I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah.
So roughly speaking, yeah, that's.
So that kind of I think goes to our next point, which is I want to talk to you a little bit about UFO phenomenon in general. And
Okay, wait,
oh,
okay.
go ahead.
I want to spend most of the time on that, of course.
Yeah,
But there's a few
sure.
about Russia. Let's just say about Russia.
Keep going.
Um, okay, Russia is the natural ally of the United States and Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They're natural ally. He's now a. It's not the Soviet Union. They're an Orthodox Christian country, but they also have a lot of Muslim population, but like Chechnya, they're now the Chechen soldiers in the Ukrainian front are very loyal to Putin, even though they had problems like 20 years ago. And so when Putin first took power from Yeltsin like 23 years ago or so, Putin wanted to join NATO. Putin's main interest, when I say Putin, I mean Russia. The people, the Russian government, right? Their main interest is to economic development. Everybody win. Okay, they have no interest. Russia has no interest in going beyond, into taking over Poland, reestablishing the Soviet thing. That's all bullshit. That's all a big lie that our military-industrial complex is trying to sell us so they can rob over $1 trillion a year from the taxpayers, from you stupid taxpayers. You don't understand how you're being fucked over by these greedy vampire assholes. Okay.
So would you say that they are
And
just trying to take back their, some of the old Soviet lands where the people are more ethnically
no,
Russian, or what do you think their
you didn't
objective
hear.
is?
No, I just said they're not trying to do that.
Yeah.
They're not trying to do that. Putin is it? He Putin thinks that the destruction of the Soviet Union was a tragedy. He says it, but he accepts the reality. No, Putin does not want aggressive NATO. We look at crazy Macron. He's going to send French troops, and you look at all these people in NATO. What's it? Jens, whatever Stoltenberg, whatever name is. One of these guys. His father was the Nazi. One of the Nazi SS. And I mean, the EU today is basically the Fourth Reich, except now they fucked themselves because Germany's going down because of the Nord Stream, which America did to them, and now the Germans are just their economy they're collapsing. The Russian economy is doing very well. The sanctions we did everything we've done is stupid.
Now, do you
Since
think?
Biden got it, okay.
So what?
But I didn't
Keep
quite
finish,
finish the
please.
thought
Please go on.
on Putin. So the point is, yeah, all Putin want, yeah, I know what I want to say. Putin will not accept Ukraine in NATO. Putin would rather go to war with nuclear weapons and wipe out my beloved London. I love London. I'm in London a lot of time. Wipe out Paris, wipe it, destroy the whole fucking thing, than let Ukraine be part of NATO. For the same reason, he will not. And the Russians in general, they're all for. Russia is now very unified. The United States is split. The two Americas. The crazy commies, the progressives, and all that, and the MAGA, the Trumpies, right? We're in a civil war. Actually, we're in an ideological, we're in a cultural civil war. Very bad here. So America is fractured. America is not united. There is no United States anymore. There's the ununited. There are two Americas at war with each other. Russia is very unified. We unified it. Why did Putin go into Ukraine? Putin went into Ukraine because when the Soviet Union fell, Bush, the first Bush, guaranteed that NATO would not move east. Okay, and they broke the promises. They broke the promises. So now allowing Ukraine to have NATO weapons on Russia's borders right there, that's like, we had the Monroe Doctrine here. We almost had a nuclear war over Cuban missiles, the Soviet missiles in Cuba with JFK. So Putin today is just doing what JFK did back in 1963. Now, I must also say that the reason Khrushchev put the nuclear missiles into Cuba was because we had nuclear missiles in Turkey, since there was that, so already then we were assholes. We were aggressive. So the point is, we're not the good guys. America's not the good guy. I'm an American patriot. I'm not an agent of Putin. Okay, I'm an American patriot, but I know some history. And with none of these assholes in power on our side, they're incompetent, they're stupid, they don't know history, and they're greedy and they're corrupt. Every last one of those fuckers. Even Republicans. I'm talking about Republicans and Democrats. Yeah. There are a few goods on both sides, but in general. And a lot of them are communists. The neocons, Victoria Nuland, Kagan, Stinkin' Blinken, our Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. I mean, they're all. I mean, I grew up with them. I know what they are because I grew up with these. They're red diaper babies. They're Russian Jews. They're Russian Jews. I'm Jewish, so I can say they're Russian Jews whose parents and grandparents told the horror stories how the Cossacks raped and went in and killed all the Jews in the shtetls there. Mm-hmm. So they're all crazy. They all have post-traumatic stress syndrome, and they're all brainwashed by the communist propaganda. In which, by the way, there's a guy named Yuri Bezmenov. He would have been my age. The Russians killed the Soviets killed him. It's because what he was is Yuri Bezmenov's father, I think, was a friend of Lenin. He was in the elite. He's part of the elite communist thing. He was Moscow State. They put him in the KGB. He could have had a brilliant career. He could have been like Vladimir Putin, maybe. But he went to India. They said the KGB. This is back like in the 60s. Yeah, when we were all young. And they sent him to India, and he got involved with the gurus. Got the New Age. Maybe he took acid. Who the hell knows? So he defected to the CIA. Back in like 1980, something like that. In any case, Yuri Bezmenov. You go on YouTube. You watch Yuri Bezmenov in 1984 being interviewed. And he talks about the Soviet, how Stalin, they were very smart. Back in the 1930s, how they started this psychological warfare operation in the United States, also, of course, in the UK. Kim Philby, all those English guys who became Soviet spies, during the defected, there's all those John Le Carre novels, writes about them. And the same thing happened here because they took advantage of the Depression. And all the intellectuals, all the thinking people in America, most of them, they went to Lincoln Brigade, They all became communists, plus the free sex. All the New Age stuff in the 60s, the free sex, that's all part of the Communist Party, the Soviet thing. Bezmenov explains it back in 1984, and he describes after 4 generations what it's going to be like. He describes America today. He describes cancel culture, the whole phony, the Black Lives Matter, phony racist stuff. Everything we're seeing here, everything that's happening here, Bezmenov says. And see, the thing is, even though the Soviet Union fell, this whole psychological warfare operation, brainwashing operation, which was very effective. They used all these Pavlovian, like Manchurian candidate stuff. Most of our guys in the White House, they're Manchurian candidates. They say certain words, and then, so it's like the Frankenstein monster. The Frankenstein monster has been let loose. And that's what we have in this country now. So it's like a mind virus.
Yeah.
So half the country is infected with the Walking Dead. They're like zombies. And I include the President of the United States. He's not even, you look at him, the way he walks. He has dementia. He's Parkinsonian dementia. Michael Savage, this book. Michael has a PhD from Berkeley in biological science. Okay, biological science. And he has some medical training. And Michael has said, and I've spoken to other medical, you look just at the way Biden, loses his, well, sometimes I do it too, but that's probably normal for 80-year-olds. But the way he walks, his gait, and the way he falls, the man, I mean, it's actually senior abuse. So he's a corpse. I mean, right now, and he's likely to be reelected because they're rigging the election. The 2020, that was all rigged.
So do you think that this has weakened America? And where would you say the power balance is between
America? Weaken America. First of all, Russia. Okay, Ukraine. Let's talk about the uranium.
Well, I guess to clarify real quick, because what I want to say is you've made statements saying that you think that Russia is like more powerful than NATO, and I wonder how you quantify that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Right now, we're a paper tiger. We're like the Wizard of Oz. There's nothing behind our curtain. Let me explain why. You know why? First, our weapons are shit. The Abrams tank is crap. The F-35 is crap compared to what the Russians had. And they proved it on the battlefield. They're knocking out the Abrams tanks. You know why? One of the reasons why?
It's a death trap.
The assholes it's a death trap. Why? What? They put in an aircraft jet engine in that tank. It runs at 1,000 degrees. It runs very hot. So, of course, the infrared signature gives off to the Russians. They see it right away. You can't hide. It's stupid. Plus, it breaks down. You can't run for more than 8 hours without having to be refueled. And it's been breaking down. It's not reliable. It's too high tech. And that's true of the F-35s. It's true of most of, it's true of a lot of our aircraft. It's true of our guns, our artillery, the stuff. So the point is, what Russia has, their equipment is more suited for the actual battle conditions with the mud and stuff in Ukraine, okay? They have better equipment, and they have more of it. Now, we've given all our stuff, a lot of our stuff, to the Ukrainians. And, of course, Ukraine, all right, there's all kinds of stuff. But first, why did Putin even go into, why did February 2022 happen? The reason it happened was because Victoria Nuland was one of those Russian Jewish people that I grew up with, a neocon, and they're really Trotskyites. They grew up in the communist, but they're more like Trotskyites, and they became like conservatives. They joined the Reagan thing. I knew a lot of these guys. I actually worked with them, and so she went over to in 2014. And arranged the revolution because the president who was elected, who was honestly elected, the president of Russia then was friendly with Putin. Now they're corrupt. Ukraine, if you look at the history, everybody said you knew that Ukraine was corrupt. And in fact, Joe Biden, our president of the United States, he got money to Hunter Biden as the bag man, right? They're all being bribed by the oligarchs. Okay. So in any case, Victoria Nuland goes in there helps arrange the coup d'etat against the pro-Putin guy. They get this new guy in, and you have these Stepan Bandera neo-Nazis who were involved in World War II. You know, the Hitler supporters. They killed a lot of Poles actually, and so what they got enough influence in the new government. So he had this Russian Jewish woman who hates Russia, aiding and abetting the Bandera Nazis to take over the military of Ukraine in 2014. And what did they do? They started artillery attacks on the Russian speakers in eastern Ukraine. They killed 14,000 Russian civilians over the 10 years. And that's one of the reasons why Putin is a nationalist. Putin, you have to understand Russia. Mother Russia, he explains, the soul of Russia. These are, Putin and these guys, they really believe it. They're Russian, they're nationalists, Russian patriots. He goes to the Russian Orthodox Church now. He's not a communist. That's why the communists here hate him, because he's not a communist. Our people, we're the communists, but Putin is not. So the point is, one reason Putin went in was because they were attacking the native Russian speakers who want to be part of Russia, and now, of course, they are part of Russia.
Crimea,
and then, to have nukes coming in, unacceptable. And then, so what happened when Zelensky got in? Zelensky got in on a pro-peace platform. So what did Putin do? Putin sends, that column down 40 miles to Kiev, and the Ukrainians, we were training, we had 10 years training the Ukrainian army, elite army from 2014, NATO training them, okay? So Putin calls it a special military operation. He didn't send in his best troops. It's about 90,000, mainly, conscripts with old equipment. He didn't send in his best tanks or his best armor. He called it special military operation. This was called a feint. He wanted to say to Zelensky, hey, listen, I'm serious. We got to talk. So Zelensky said right away, okay, let's talk. This is what happened back then. But the idiots today, they don't know any of this basic history, this dumb schmucks.
We kind of ignore history, it feels like. But what I would ask...
they don't know anything. All right, but no, let me finish. This is very important. I got to make a coherent narrative.
Yeah.
So we're fighting the
if you can just slide the water bottle, that'd be great as well, just off the video.
Right,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Let me just take a...
Yeah, go for it. Because I would add... Go ahead.
Oh, wait. So this is important. So Zelensky meets Putin in Istanbul. Erdogan, the president, and even at that point, even the prime minister of Israel was there. Okay, and Putin is listening, and they work out a deal. They're both accepted, both of them. There's going to be a peace. Okay, what happens? Boris Johnson, who I used to like, Boris Johnson becomes Biden's lapdog. Our guys, Biden or the CIA, they send Boris Johnson to Istanbul, and Boris Johnson says to Zelensky, no, listen, don't sign this deal. He sabotaged the deal and said, we're going to help you. Because they want to weaken the Russians. At that point, they thought they could beat the Russians. They thought they'd win. They're a bunch of aggressive, arrogant, stupid schmucks. Okay? They were wrong. So Boris Johnson has blood on his hands. I'm sorry, Boris. I know I have friends who are friends. I when I'm in London, if they'll let me back in there, when I'm in London, I belong to the club, the private clubs where they all go. Okay, and I have friends who are, they play bridge together, that kind of thing. It's a small world.
Yeah.
I have dinner with GCHQ, MI6, all these people. British, the London Met, commissioners of London Met, British intelligence, stuff like that. And I worked in, there's a whole thing for that. But any case, so Boris played the lackey and has caused the war along with Victoria Nuland. So what do we have now? We have Ukraine is destroyed. So the flower, the youth, at least 500,000 youth, millions have left. I mean, I think Ukraine had like 40 million 42 million people before this war started. Now they have like 20 million or 18 million if they have that. The war is lost. They never had a chance. And we've made Russia stronger. The Russian economy is growing 3.5%, and the German economy is 0.1% because they let our guys. I mean, the United States, Joe Biden committed an act of war on Germany. He destroyed the German economy. Germany was getting cheap gas, 40% of their gas from Russia. The whole thing is stupid. Okay,
Yeah.
now
Well,
let's segue into
yeah,
UFOs.
because what I was going to segue actually there is the idea of the hypersonics and the super soldiers. If Russia's in this war, why are they not deploying their advanced weapons? What is your thoughts on that? And then that can move into our
Well, that's
discussion on UFOs.
obvious. That's even you're a schmuck. You don't know what's going on. Although maybe you do, maybe just me. Okay, let me explain that
Yeah,
because
please.
there's so many stupid people asking me stupid questions. Oh no! First of all, I mean, gotta understand what it's a civil war in Ukraine. So what these people they're fighting, they're like brothers, most of them. Putin is being very restrained. He's doing the minimum. If Putin wanted to, he could have bombed. He could have turned Kiev into rubble. He could have done that 2 years ago with his bombers. Okay, he doesn't want to do that. And by the way, the fact is, if you go online, there are people there's this guy, Alexander Mercouris, he's in London, very smart man. He goes into detail what's happening on the battlefront. There's Douglas McGregor. There's a whole bunch, There's Ray McGovern. These are all ex-CIA guys. Larry Johnson, Colonel Daniel Davis, U.S. Army. You go on YouTube and you'll get the details of what's really going on in Ukraine. Not everything you read in the newspapers, everything in the New York Times about Ukraine, Washington Post, PBS, CNN, even Fox. It's all bullshit. It's all a lie. It's all like 1984. It's all propaganda. There's no truth to anything they're saying. Okay, and the opposite is true. So Putin has been very restrained, and he's doing a policy what's called aggressive attrition. Aggressive attrition. They're holding. He doesn't want territory. Well, he'll keep the territory he has, the east of the Donbass, because that's now Russia. That's the buffer zone. Putin's going to take Kharkov and he's going to take Odessa. So Ukraine is now going to be a rump state without any direct outlet to the Black Sea or to anything like that. The Polish farmers don't want Ukraine is destroyed. What might happen is that Poland and Lithuania and Hungary and I think Slovenia too, Romania, Hungary, Poland, Lithuania, yeah, they all want pieces of Western Ukraine because it used to be part of those countries. So they may work out the deal. There is no more. Ukraine is destroyed.
Yeah.
Boris Johnson, Joe Biden, Victoria Nuland, Anthony Blinken, all these idiots, they have destroyed Ukraine. It's over. There's no way Ukraine's ever going to win this war. And if Macron, if NATO would send in troops, you know what's going to happen to those troops? If NATO's going to send in troops. Putin has said Medvedev. By the way, you get rid of Putin, and whoever comes to replaces Putin's going to be much worse than Putin. Let me tell you, they're going to start. You better, Putin's keeping everything kind of restrained, okay, compared to what they're ready to do, and they're pissed that they will do it. If Putin wants, Putin can take a hypersonic missile, and he could pinpoint it now. They have greater accuracy, like 20 meters. They have greater accuracy. He can put a hypersonic missile in the Elysia Palace. Without a nuke, he can do it to the Ministry of Defense in London. He could do it to he can do it 10 Downing Street. He can do it to Berlin. He can do it to. He doesn't want to do that. He could do it, and they can't stop him. We don't have anything anymore.
So do you not think that we have that type of technology or even more advanced? If that's what they're saying publicly, do you think that there might be even more advanced that they have secret that they're not talking about? Do you think
they don't because they don't because our guys are stupid. Look at their tanks. Look at what they're sending. Our equipment's no good. I mean, we only have the F-35 was a piece of shit. Everybody knows it's a piece of shit for years. It's a total boondoggle swindle. only 1/3 of the F-35s are even operational. And maybe only about half of our nuclear submarines are operational. And look at the British Navy. The British can't. They had the defense minister. I forget his name, Sprague or whatever. I forget his name, Ian something or other. And they had him on the nuclear sub, the British Navy nuclear sub, and they tried to launch a missile, and the missile dropped and almost hit the submarine. It almost hit the submarine. The aircraft carrier, the two aircraft carriers, they're not working.
Yeah.
And they had the Royal Air Force, they had to decommission like 35 Typhoon jets because they don't have the parts for it. They don't have the money for it. The British Army's a joke. The British Army it's now 72,000. The whole British Army would fit in a football match, the soccer matches that they have, in London there. The entire British Army. Putin has, I think by this summer he's going to have over 2 million men under arms. 2 million. They already have over 1 million. He has like 750,000 reserve forces ready to go, move into Ukraine if needed.
Do ground troops even matter though if you have the capability to just use drones and drop missiles on people like we did in Iraq and Syria? It feels you don't even need troops anymore.
You see, that's the other boy. You don't know shit. You don't know anything. Man. You don't know nothing about. Okay, let me tell you something.
Yeah, please.
When I went to Cornell, 1950s, late 1950s, we all had to take military. We had a reserve officers training corps. We had to do that. Okay. And I had courses in military, I had some basic elementary things about bombing. We had about bombing. That was in the Air Force, ROTC. I was in Civil Air Patrol before that. And the answer is no. First of all, what's been proven by the fact that the Russians, even when they were weak at the beginning, they were weak, first year they were weak, they were able to, wipe out the best forces that Ukraine had, who were trained for 10 years by NATO. Our training is no good. You know why? Because our army is no good anymore. Why is our army no good anymore? And I'll tell you exactly why. Because we never, okay, who have we been fighting since Vietnam? We're fighting poor people who do not have an air force. They don't have tanks. They don't have real artillery. What did the Taliban have? Or who are they fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq? What do you call it? Oh, wait. Saddam in Iraq, he had some stuff, but we had a good army back then. Under Reagan and Bush, the first Bush, we had a powerful army then. And in fact, Douglas McGregor, who was in that campaign, and Colonel Davis, they talk about, we had a good army. But as soon as Clinton got in, Clinton destroyed the defense of the United States. Why did Clinton destroy the defense? Because Hillary Clinton, his wife, is a communist agent. It's like a Manchurian, she Saul Alinsky. Yeah. She and Victoria Nuland. Okay, we destroyed, and also what's happened is that our 4-star generals, and like our current Secretary of Defense, it's a revolving door between the defense contractors and the Pentagon. So what we've done, we've built these high-tech weapons, which are too advanced and require too much. Okay, do you know cars at all? You know what it's like to have a Ferrari or a McLaren?
Bugatti.
A lot of maintenance, right? And you can't use them on the street. They're meant for special, things. So that all our weapons, we have Bugattis, we have Ferraris, McLarens, we have. The Russians, they have Toyotas. I mean, in terms of their stuff is not, their stuff is much suited. Their stuff works, even if it breaks down. It's like redundant. Have you seen the thing like the 8th Air Force in World War II where they're bombing Nazi Germany, and they get, the wings fall off, but the planes keep flying because they have enough redundancy. Okay, yeah. So the Russians have superior equipment for actual battlefield conditions. Plus the tactics that NATO taught the Ukrainian army were tactics that were not suitable to fight the Russian army in the land conditions of Ukraine. They were using tactics they learned how to fight, the sand niggers, the guys in their little Toyota with the rifles and the IEDs. They were They were teaching those kinds of tactics against a much lower enemy, not against an enemy like the Russian army, where they still have all that Soviet equipment. Okay, the other thing is, this all goes to Clinton, the first Bill Clinton. Okay, started this whole downward spiral. What did he do? We went all our manufacturing offshore to China. There's all corruption. So we can't make we can't make enough ammunition to supply Ukraine, and neither can the EU. So we outsourced all our manufacturing, but the Russians, they still have from World War II. They have all their factories in Siberia, which is too far away for us to reach. You can't reach. They have all, and they beefed it up. So the Russians are able to make like 3 million artillery shells a year. We can't even make 1/10 of that. Okay.
Yeah. So,
and they make So the point.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I kind of want to ask a tangential question, try to translate this more into the UFO side. Do you think the Russians have a UFO reverse engineering program? Do you think we have one, or advanced science in that respect?
All right, now,
technology that's well beyond any of the stuff that we've kind of discussed right now.
Okay, let's put it this way. All right, now we're going to get into
the fun stuff now.
Finish? All right, let's talk about that. All right. We have to a little bit of history here. Who is Jack? Who am I? Who's Jack Sarfatti? Some people say, "Oh, Jack is he has a cunning, whatever. He talks in third person. It's great." No, I'm going to talk about who is Jack Sarfatti? Who am I? Okay, when I was a little kid in New York, my grandfather worked for the Army. Okay, and I was living with my parents were divorced, and I was 8, 9 years old. I was living with my grandparents. My grandfather working for the Army, and so after school and I used to go down to where my grandfather worked at the Army Quartermaster Corps in the Garment District, Manhattan, near the 14th Street around there, Garment District. And it was and I was like a kid. Things were pretty simple back then. And here's this 10-year-old kid. The Army Quartermaster Corps was my playground. They had all these labs. They had the hot tropical uniforms, cold weather uniforms, and I was given free rein. I was able to run around, do whatever. It was like a playground. Okay, for me. Okay, I was like the only kid. And then these Army officers would come and talk to me. And I was a smart kid. You can imagine what I was like, right? In science fiction, reading the astounding, L. Ron Hubbard was, all these, the 25-cent, Isaac Asimov, all that stuff, and talking about rockets. And then, but years later, to leap forward a little bit, when Colonel Phil Corso, published his book the day after Roswell.
Yeah.
I opened up the book. This is like when was it, the 80s and 90s? 1990s. I opened up the book and I see the photograph of Corso. And like a recognition, after he's older. And I'm pretty sure that one of the main Army officers who were talking to me about UFOs, talking about flying saucers. These Army guys are telling me about flying saucers. Back when I was like an 8, 9-year-old kid. Okay?
So you believe them?
Sure. Well, I'm a 9-year-old kid, right? Of course I believe. I'm driving around Army cars. My grandpa's driving the car. We're sitting and we're talk. But do you understand what I'm telling you now? This is like 2 or 3 years after Roswell. 4 years, man. After 49, 50. And who I think is Colonel Corso, somebody like Colonel Corso, encouraging my interest in rockets and science and telling me the flying saucers and stuff like that.
So what do you think the nature of UFOs is all about? What's your opinion?
Okay, wait a minute. You're jumping too fast. There's a whole history here. Okay. Okay. So then I'm in high school in Brooklyn, and I get recruited into a special after-school program from Columbia University,
Mhm.
headed by a guy named well, it was Eugene McDermott. Was if you look at who Eugene McDermott is, he's one of the founders of Texas Instruments,
Okay.
and he was actually from Brooklyn, and he was a top guy in World War II. With like an MJ-12 kind of guy. He created the university, one of the universities in Texas. It's his money. Texas Instruments ends up, um, a major figure, and um, so he had this program. They had this program but the super kid program to get these genius kids in math and physics, and they would after school they would tell it was like the X-Men. So is it like the X-Men? With that those movie. We were They were testing us to see if we had psychic, that if we could do psychokinesis, telepathy. They were doing all that stuff and encouraging flying saucers. Work on flying saucers, stuff like that, all through high school. All through high
So
school,
they believed it enough to sign
and
you up and get you involved. Is that what you're saying?
well, yeah, yeah, but not only me, a bunch of kids, other kids,
Was Uri
guys
Geller with you as well?
not there. Uri Geller's in Israel then.
Got it.
Uri Geller's 7 years younger than me. He's in
Okay.
Israel. He's in Israel. But yeah, I met Isaac Asimov.
That's
I was going to
impressive.
parties with Isaac Asimov, this group, okay, and Ayn Rand, people around Ayn Rand,
Sure.
the Fountainhead, but here's the point.
Yeah.
So throughout high school, and I was skipped in grades, so I graduated high school at 16, and this guy Walter Breen, they wrote this. They said they wrote a 10-page report on me, a report which apparently they sent it to MIT, to Cornell, and to University of Chicago. They actually wanted me to go to University of Chicago for some reason. In any case, I got, graduate high school, I got scholarships to all three, to MIT, Cornell, and University of Chicago. For various reasons, my mother didn't want me to go too far. I don't know, but I got more money from Cornell than from MIT, and my mother didn't want me to go as far as Chicago, because I think it's only 200 miles from New York. So I wound up going to Cornell, and the physics department at Cornell was all the guys who built the atomic bomb. Did you see the movie Oppenheimer?
Yeah, I saw it with my parents. It's good.
Yeah, okay. Well, Hans Bethe was one of my tutors.
Great.
He was the head of theoretical physics at Los Alamos. Phil Morrison, well, these guys, they all the A team for Oppenheimer. Okay, so those are the guys who taught me physics at Cornell. And of course, Cornell back then, this is late 1950s. I'm class of '60, Cornell, and of course Ivy League. Cornell is an Ivy League school, and the CIA recruits from the Ivy League,
Sure.
especially back then, and also a lot of my professors were from England. A lot of my friends were from England. They're connected with the British intelligence. So in fact, I was actually a Gilbert and Sullivan opera singer too, and my voice teacher was Keith Faulkner, who later became Sir Keith Faulkner, but he was like a British Air Force, British naval officer in World War II. He's kind of famous, sort of Keith Faulkner. In any case, but I think I was. There's a movie called The Good Shepherd. It's about James Angleton at Yale right before World War II, and how James Angleton, whose grandson is a friend of mine, I know his grandson, okay, and how James Angleton at Yale, he's in the Gilbert and Sullivan Society, okay, and then the movie opens up. The movie, and I think De Niro, I think is in that movie. Yeah, I think Robert De Niro is actually in the movie, and Matt Hell, the guy from Harvard. In any case, so the scene opens up where they're doing a Gilbert and Sullivan, and the James Angleton character, he's dressed as a woman, because they had the women, only men there. Yale, 1930s, Skull and Bones, that whole thing, and he's recruited by the British intelligence to help form the CIA. This is true, based on a true story. Okay, same thing happening. That's part of that. You know, and so what happens? Okay, so various things happen. I go to in 1966. I'm with Werner Heisenberg. You know who Werner Heisenberg was? The Heisenberg uncertainty principle. I'm spending. I spent the summer. I spent July. I think it was July. It's 1966 with John Archibald Wheeler,
Familiar. Yep.
Heisenberg, and some other people at the Max Planck Institute in Munich. In Munich, it's only 10 years, 66. It's 20 years after World War II.
Do you
I
think
was
they took
living in
UFOs
Bohemia.
seriously, or
No, wait, just wait.
yeah?
Just wait. We'll get there, okay? But I wanted this, but here I'm with Heisenberg and these guys, but about general relativity. No, they didn't talk about UFOs. By the way, this was a NATO summer school,
Okay.
NATO summer school. From there, I go over to Her Majesty's Atomic Energy Research Establishment at Harwell. Okay, which is kind of like like Los Alamos,
Sure.
but the British, smaller scale, the British version, and I go there, and various things happen, and then what happens? Okay, so I'm jumping to now. I'm then an assistant professor of physics at San Diego State,
Yep.
which is a Navy town. And very patriotic. It's this is like the late 1960s, and we ran the program of float college education for the U.S. Navy out of San Diego State. Okay, so I used to go on Navy ships, teach. I was on Navy ships, and in 1970, now we're getting to UFOs. So in 1971, I was on the USS Ticonderoga, which is like a small aircraft, it's an old aircraft carrier, mainly a helicopter thing. And we sailed from San Diego to Pearl Harbor. Was that on the Ticonderoga? Yeah, this was Ticonderoga, 71. It was in 70, yeah. I forget, well, maybe in late 60s, I'm not sure exactly when, but it was a long time ago. And, but while there's this guy, the Naval Intelligence guy on board. I'm a physics professor teaching physics, and so he started talking to me about UFOs. We're sitting waiting on the Pacific Ocean, going across Pearl Harbor. So we spent a lot of time talking about UFOs back then. So I started with the Navy back then, at least. Okay, explicit. Yeah. And I must say, this is kind of. Just to let you know, I'm not an agent of Vladimir Putin, you fucking assholes. Excuse me,
I believe
kick your ass. All right, now, I'm talking about Colonel John B. Alexander, that schmuck, that evil schmuck. Okay, but the point is, so we're sailing into Pearl Harbor. They get all the sailors, and we're all standing there. We go past, the Arizona, the War. I mean, I tear up even now thinking of that. So I remember World War II. My uncle was 4 years in combat in the South Pacific. Yeah. The whole time. So I really remember World War II, even though I can remember it.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So here. Okay. So UFOs. Okay. So now I'm back at San Diego State. Now it's going to get weird. Now it's going to really get weird. Okay.
Good. Let's get weird.
Now. And now Uri Geller enters the picture. So it's like 1972, I guess, late 1972. And I'm living on campus, off campus, with this other physics professor named Fred Allen Wolf. I don't know if you heard of him. He's kind of well known at the time. We both got divorced. Stupid,
Okay.
Won't go into all this detail. You can read about how the hippie saved physics, that book.
Yeah, a lot of the history is already out there. I'm more curious on your opinions on the phenomenon.
Yeah. And so Fred gets a call from his high school, Chicago high school buddy named Bob Tobin. And Bob says he wants to come out to want to pay a visit. Bob is a zany guy, but he has a lot of money. He made a lot of money on the Chicago commodities market. So he's rolling in money. Bob comes and stays with us. And Bob starts talking. He says, there's this Israeli psychic named Uri Geller. He's able to bend metal with his mind.
Yeah.
Now, at this time, you got to understand, Fred Wolf, very straight. He had working in atomic physics of nuclear explosions. He had Air Force contracts. I was actually working on an Air Force nuclear explosion contract at the time. And we were straight, Bermuda shorts, Austin Healy, and I had what did I have? I had an Alfa Romeo Spitfire, whatever, and it's a Navy town. And he says to Fred, listen, I have a book contract, and I have a television thing. We want to do like a series. I want to do a show on Uri Geller, and we need physicists to explain how can Uri Geller do what he does. And we didn't know. I mean, we didn't know anything. In any case, so we said, yeah, okay. We didn't know. We started brainstorming with him. But okay, one thing leads to another. And let me see how to do this now. And he leaves. Bob leaves. And Fred gets a call. It's like now early spring of 73. Fred gets a call from a friend of his both in Paris and in London that he's offered to teach atomic physics at the University of Paris and also teach it at the University of London, Birkbeck College, where I had actually been. I had been there myself too, with David Bones. And so he'd be commuting. He'd be living in Paris and London. He'd go teach 1 day a week in Paris, 1 day a week in London, just commute. They pay his way and teaching atomic physics, okay?
Yeah.
Then I get a phone call. I get a phone call from Abdus Salam, who I had already known because I had been working back and forth. I was at the British Atomic Energy Commission, with back and forth, stuff like that. Abdus Salam is the chairman. He's a Pakistani, but Brit, a British expat. Well, like Pakistan, you're living in England, and he's the head of theoretical physics department at the Imperial College of London, which is like the MIT of England. But he also runs a International Institute of Theoretical Physics in Trieste, Italy, which is it's UNESCO, it's the UN. So it's Russian physicists, Indian physicists, African, and French, American, also. And he says he was following some of my work that he was interested in. He says, Jack, why don't you come to Trieste, Italy? Work at I'm invited there. Pay me there. And we wanted to leave San Diego anyway. It was getting boring. So Fred, so we both wind up. Okay, so we're on our way to Europe. But now, I'm on my way to Europe. But before going to Europe, this is now maybe it's June. Maybe it's June of maybe it's May. I'm not sure. Early spring, early summer, 1973, and I'm about to fly from San Francisco to London on my way to Trieste. Now it gets very weird. It's gonna get very weird all of a sudden.
Do you see some UFOs?
Just wait.
I'm
you
eager.
I want
to hear about the UFOs. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, be patient. It's UFOs and more.
Okay? I got you.
More than UFOs. I'm in bed, my girlfriend at her mother's house in Carmel Valley. It's a beautiful place near near Big Sur, and Sharon's mother brings in the Sunday paper, Sunday Chronicle magazine. I open up the magazine section. I get this. This is Twilight Zone now. This is like
Okay.
this is this is UFOs on steroids. Okay, you want
Don't
UFO?
leave me
You
in
get a lot
suspense
more than
here.
you can, yeah. Well, it's Twilight Zone. Yeah,
Okay.
believe me, it's worth it. I open. There's a big article, multi-page colored article. Guess it's about? It's about Uri Geller, who you just. We're on our way over to. Oh yeah. Also, because Bob Tobin had given us money. He said, "Don't worry about money. I'll give you all the money. I'll meet you in Europe." Bob, so it was Bob Tobin telling us to go to Europe, and then we get phone calls from England, and for Fred and I to go to England. Turns out this is all a CIA operation. It's all Central Intelligence Agency, right? Okay, okay, wait. And so I open up the thing, and I see Uri Geller, and how they're testing all these psychic powers. And I say to Sharon, hey Sharon, this is exactly what Bob Tobin is sending us over to Europe for. You're paying for the tickets, paying for everything. Okay, it's a coincidence. Look, as I said, it's Sunday. So I said Monday morning. I'm leaving on Wednesday. I'm flying to SFO on Wednesday. Right? It's Monday morning. I called Monday morning. I got to call these guys. So I get the phone number. I call. And this Irish guy, Brendan O'Regan, gets on the phone. Get this now. Says, Dr. Sarfatti, we were hoping you would call us. Do you understand how weird that is?
Yeah, synchronicities. I think that they say, and
Well, it's more than synchronicity.
especially when
You
the
can't
CIA is
explain
involved.
this by saying, yeah, but you can't. How do they know that Sharon's mother is going to bring in the newspaper, and I'm going to read the news, and first thing I'm going to turn, and I see the article.
Yeah.
How could the CIA even? This is much more than CIA. Yeah, CIA is part of it.
So do you
The
think
CIA
do you think there's a link between the CIA and the consciousness and the UFOs then?
Oh, okay, but you're jumping too fast because your mind, you're like a little old transistor radio, and I'm a big German broadband punk. You can't imagine what I'm going to tell you. Maybe you can if you heard some of the earlier things, but you're like Tucker Carlson with Putin.
I was thinking about that. This is kind of like that because you're telling the history story like Putin was, but all I want to know about is the UFOs.
Yeah, because your mind is too small.
The technology.
I'm trying to.
I appreciate the history.
Because you're suffering cognitive dysfunction, and I'm going to give you a little bit. I'm giving you a little Viagra for your mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
I got you.
bear with me. Just bear with me. Okay. So now wait.
Okay.
So Brendan says, can you drive? They know where I am. I'm an hour away. Obviously, they're surveilling me, right? Okay, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And so I said, we'd like to talk to you. So I get in my car. This is now quick. I drive up to SRI. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning. Remember, I'm leaving on Wednesday morning. Okay. And I'm at SRI there, and Brendan meets me. And he says, takes me across the street to the Institute of Noetic Science. And guess who I meet? The first guy I meet besides Brendan is Edgar Mitchell. Do you know Edgar Mitchell?
Yeah, the astronaut. Yeah, I think he's made some pretty profound statements about life and UFOs.
Yes. So I meet him. I don't know if I shake hands. I'm sitting in Edgar Mitchell's office, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Brendan. Brendan's an Irish national, by the way. From Dublin. And I think he comes from the family who run the Irish Times or something like, he's kind of like an Irish aristocrat type guy. British intelligence, right? This is CIA. This is the CIA. How put off. Okay, so I wind up. We have lunch or something, I guess, with Edgar. Bringing sandwiches or something. Then they take me to a guy named Dean Brown. Dean Brown is one of these original Stanford. Remember, this is now the Stanford, the Silicon Valley venture capital guys. His name is Dean Brown. And okay. Now it turns out the CIA tape recorded all this. And somebody sent me part of that tape recording from 1973, which is now on SoundCloud. If you go to SoundCloud, the Jack Sarfatti CIA 1973, you can listen to the meeting in which I am introduced at Dean Brown's house to Harold Putoff, Russell Targ, and a bunch of other people there too. And in that tape, you can hear Russell Targ talking about how they think flying saucers are time machines from the future. Just listen to Russell Targ. You don't take my word. There it is. And then, see, I had remembered when I was 13, I was contacted in these weird phone calls.
Yeah, I heard about that.
By what said it was a conscious conscious computer on board a spacecraft from the future, and that they wanted to teach. I was part of a group of kids that they wanted to teach their technology to. In any case, I had, Brendan kind of knew about that. So I had been talking with Edgar Mitchell and Brendan, about I had remembered my experience at the age of 13. Oh, and then, but they said I would meet the others in 20 years. This is 1973, so it's 20 years later, and here I am at SRI, okay? In any case, so you'll hear me talking on that tape. I say to Brenda, I said, Brenda, should I tell him what we talked about? Brenda, yes, says, go ahead. You hear me, you hear me, you hear the actual event. And I talk about what happened. And you'll hear Brenda say, oh yeah, we have data on several hundred incidents of that kind. There's the data on it, okay? So there we are. So you want to, and then they talk about, Uri Geller.
So it wasn't just you. There was other people that have had similar experiences.
Oh yeah, including Hal Putoff. Apparently Hal Putoff.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but Hal told me Hal told me we're on a bus in London with Kit Green. You know who Christopher Green is? Kit Green, the CIA. Okay. I'm with Kit Green and Hal Putoff. We're sitting on a bus. That's Stuart Hameroff. He was trying to get on the bus. So we're going from the temple, the dinner at the temple over. I forget where we're going. And Hal, he said, Hal said, when he was a kid, he had some strange stuff. And then somebody interrupted the conversation, so he didn't tell me the full details. But if you ever get Hal Putoff on, ask Hal Putoff before he dies. He's older than me, before he dies. What happened to him as a kid? Okay.
Yeah.
And so there we are. And then they say, well, why am I there? They want me to help set up tests of Uri Geller at the University of London.
See if he's psychic.
Which happened. Yeah. Well, but no, they wanted other labs to corroborate, tests. And okay, all this is in the, this is all in How the Hippies Say Physics. My book, Destiny Matrix.
Yeah.
There's a new book by a guy, David Gladstone's on Amazon called The Great Race. It goes up to David Grush, talks about David Grush meeting. Okay. So there we go. Now, do you understand the whole point of me telling you this story is that the only way to understand those events from 1953, predicting I was going to meet Hal Putoff and all these guys in 1973, which happened, is that this is all being manipulated by the non-human intelligence of the Tic Tacs, of the Nimitz encounters. They are manipulating all this back from the future. It's all time travel. You have to understand it's time travel. The only way to understand this. The CIA back then, look how stupid the CIA is now. We got some really stupid people running the CIA. This guy Burns. They're idiots. The people who got me into this back then were smarter than people now. We have real idiots running the CIA. They're totally incompetent.
Yeah, so do you think that UFOs then are just us from the future? Do you think it could be aliens from the future? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Why is it a zero? Why is it one
or
the
both?
other?
No, it can be both too. I'm sure. Do you think it's both?
It's definitely both.
Interesting. And what do you think about the UFO community? Like some of these celebrities that are out there, let's just say, Dr. Stephen Greer, Lou Elizondo, Jeremy Corbell,
Okay.
there's
All
others
right.
as
Okay.
well.
Okay. Let's be precise now. Let's slow down.
Okay. You want to go one at a time?
Let's go one at a time.
Well, let's start with Jeremy
Yeah.
Corbell because my opinion is he thinks that it can't be us, that it's got to be aliens. What do you think about him?
He's an idiot. Corbell's he's a he's a schmuck. Corbell's a schmuck. He's a dumb. What does he know? What is his educational background? What is what?
I don't even
Does
know.
he have a degree in physics?
Definitely not.
Does he have a degree in mathematics? Is he an engineer?
No.
This is all a physics. This is all a technical problem. You got to understand. This is all a technical problem. Now he's an airhead.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
What about Lou Elizondo?
Listen.
No, let's rapid fire these out. What about Lou Elizondo? What do you think about him?
Oh yeah,
He's a military guy.
Yeah,
right?
he's a military guy.
Do you think he's got some inside information?
Yes. Oh, he definitely has inside information. Now, okay, Lou. Okay, Lou is a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He doesn't have much of a technical background, and he was basically drafted into this by schmucks in the schmucks above him. I didn't know shit from Shinola. And so, he's like David Grush, except David, I think, has a little bit more physics, math background than Lou. So my beef with Lou was that he was too much of a wimp when Frank Milburn, Frank Milburn's this ex-SAS British soldier, suffering from PTSD a little bit, but he wrote these two papers for the Begin Sadat Mossad IDF think tank at Bar-Ilan University in Israel. He wrote these two things, and I'm in it. He describes my stuff pretty well. Does a pretty good job on, and also Louis in it, and Chris Mel, we're all in it, right? And then when people have asked Louis about the Sarfatti physics, he just he doesn't, he didn't want to say anything. That partly because he's not a physicist. So actually, maybe that was good. But
do you think there's an aspect where he has an NDA and he can't speak about some of it because it's a national security issue?
Well, of course. Well, that's what he says, doesn't he? Yeah. So you got to believe what he says.
That's fair.
All right. So I think Louis is trying to do the right thing, but Louis is involved with some people who I don't like. Louis is involved with Chris Mellon. Maybe Chris and I will make up. Who knows? And Gary Nolan. Nolan's pissed off because I pissed him off. He's emotional. And who else? Colonel John Alexander and Eric Davis. Some of these people, there's a whole other story. Okay, so go ahead, ask me.
So I guess the next one is Dr. Stephen Greer. Do you think he's had inside information?
Yeah, he has some. Greer, I almost got into a fist fight with Greer.
Did you? That's funny.
In 2004. We're on the same as Santa Fe.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said, because I thought Greer was a communist. Yeah. He was saying, I know. He was saying, back then I was a schmuck myself. I think I was sort of a neocon back then, because I was for Iraq. That's right. I believed all the bullshit about Iraq. Yeah.
You look at uranium and all that stuff. Yeah.
All that stuff. And actually, maybe I owe Greer an apology, because he said something bad about the president, about all that. And I think but he's a big guy.
He's huge. He's jacked. He's really jacked.
Yeah, he's on steroids, right? Yeah, he works out. I don't know.
Okay. So,
back then it's funny. So, okay, but the thing about Greer, he's a bit of he struck me as being a bit of a cult leader. He gets these gullible people. They go out in the
desert up there.
But he charges money. He makes money off it, so that makes me suspicious. But I think some of the stuff, he did, some of the people, witnesses, it's true. Okay. I know it's true. I agree with you. We haven't gotten to that yet. So Greer's a mixed bag.
Got it. Okay, cool. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of his opinions here in a second, because and we may come to some other people, but those are the main three that I wanted to get your opinion on. What I want to know next is, since you talked about this idea of retro-causality, with this idea that information from the future can float to the past, what do you think the best evidence in science and physics is of retro-causality? Do you think the double slit experiment can explain that, or do you have some other better evidence? Although I guess that's good
All
enough,
right.
possibly. And are you familiar with
All right.
the
Now,
yeah.
okay, wait. At this point, we got to get into my.
You want the
Okay, now you want to do physics? Okay, just a minute. Just a
oh,
minute.
okay.
We got to do screen, right?
You want to do the
You got
equations?
to do. Yeah, because the only way to do it. Otherwise, I'm losing my voice already. I can't.
Yeah.
I have a weak vocal cord. I strained it too much when I was singing at Cornell. Hang on.
Make sure you hide your
It
OnlyFans
was my
account.
Zoom. My what? Hang on. Yeah,
I'm
what
just
happened
messing
to
with
my
you.
joining the meeting? What happened to my joining the meeting here? Join. Oh, damn. Wait. Hang on a minute.
Sure.
Hang on a minute. I got to do. Why don't you talk to your guys while I'm doing
Okay.
this?
Hold on. I'm gonna unshare
Talk to
the
your.
screen real
Yeah.
quick from you. I think.
Okay. 539.
Oops.
9.
You can't. Yeah, you can't
All
write on
right.
that
I'll wait.
whiteboard. Okay. We're back on this. Okay.
All right. Okay. No. I want to. No. I'm going to. I want to get back on this screen again.
Okay.
Okay. Wait. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I'm ready now. I'm
Great.
ready. I'm ready.
Go ahead and reshare.
Okay. No. Okay. So you see my thing? You
No,
see
not
my thing
yet.
now?
No, I don't see it yet.
You don't?
No.
Do you see it now?
Nope. Still don't.
Oh fuck. All right. What happened? Oh wait. Okay. Share screen. Gotta do it again. Screen. Start broadcast.
There we go. Now I can see it.
Okay. There we go.
Yep.
Okay. There we go. So okay.
Okay. I'm gonna
Open the
switch
pro.
this.
Okay. Do you see my white pad?
Yep, we see it. Go for it. Looks good.
All right. All right. Okay. Ask me the question now.
So
Start
yeah,
again.
so I
Start
guess the
over.
question is, what do you think of what's the best evidence for retro-causality? Would you say the delayed choice quantum eraser is a good proof of it?
Sort of. No, let me go. Okay. Retro-causality.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yep.
My causality.
The idea that
But
the
I think
future affects the
I
past.
can write better. I think I can write better if I carry this.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, I can still. All right. Okay. Now, you first have to let me get the history. History.
We can't see your face either, but go ahead.
Oh, you can't see my face?
It's
I see
covered
my
up or
face.
something, it
Okay.
looks like.
Oh, all right. That's the problem with this thing. Okay.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
the problem. Okay. Okay. All right. So now, the history. Around 1940. Oh, actually, no, we'll go 1940. Wheeler. So what you got to do, guys, Feynman. Wheeler Feynman. Well, you go to Wikipedia, even though, go to Wikipedia. How do you spell Wikipedia?
You got it.
All these keywords, you just put in Wheeler Feynman. You got to do your homework. This is, this is serious stuff. You can't
Absolutely.
just get it and sound, for attention deficit disorder. Okay. Wheeler Feynman advanced potentials. Advanced electromagnetic potentials. That's, back from the future.
Mm-hmm.
Future.
Got it.
But it's classical. This is not quantum.
Okay.
This is all classical. Yeah. That's classical. It's classical physics. Okay. Then let's jump. Then we have Fred Hoyle. In Cambridge. Isaac Newton, professor. Stephen Hawking took his job. Oh no, it was Dennis Epps. Yeah, I was a professor. I called the Intelligent Universe. It's a book, Intelligent Universe. Around 1986 or so, a book. get that book or look up that book. He talks about retro-causality, that the universe is created from the future.
Yeah.
Okay? That's Fred Hoyle. All right. Around 1964, we have a student of David Bohm. Look up all these people. David Bohm, who worked with Einstein.
Yeah, Aharonov-Bohm effect.
Einstein.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but Yakia
Aharonov. Mm-hmm. He's still alive. 91, I think.
Yeah. I saw him not too long ago. He was there. All I can tell you about. Let me tell you what I saw.
These are all the legends.
He was there with Puthoff and Tog. I mean, with Kit Green and Puthoff in London because of Bohm. We were at the Bohm Festival. How do you spell Aharonov?
I think that's correct.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. What's called weak measurement theory. Weak measurement.
Mm-hmm.
Weak measurement. Look at that for a minute. And then quantum. This is quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
Mechanics. And this is practical stuff. This is stuff they do in the laboratory. It's not just theoretical. And basically, what that is, this is here now. And this is what's called, this is time. This is space. Okay? And this is what's called a future boundary condition. And this is a past boundary. And then he has what's happening here. You have there's a psi wave, psi destiny. He calls it. This is his language. Mm-hmm. Psi destiny.
That's fine. It's not an art contest.
Okay. And here you have another wave, a second wave, psi history. Mm-hmm. And they create what happens there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So both the future and the past are influencing the present?
Yes. This is the future cause, past cause. Past cause. Oh, let me make a little digression here.
Sure.
You know who Stephen Wolfram. Mathematica. Do you know about Mathematica? It's the main program. He's a smart guy. He worked at Murray. He's British. He worked at Murray. In any case, he has this thing called computational universe. Computational universe. Are we a simulation? Are we living in a simulation?
That's what I was going to ask. Do you believe in the holographic principle? What is your thoughts?
Well, this is all. Well, wait a minute. You're jumping to I'll get that. That's a good question, but just remind me. Keep that on the back burner.
Well, it's on my list.
Yeah. Okay. He has this, but he's kind of like that. We're living in a sim. I mean, what he's saying would be consistent with that. We're living in a simulation. We're someone else's video game, right?
Yeah, if time has no meaning, if it's just, the future and the past are impacting the present. Then
it has meaning. Don't say it has no meaning. It has meaning.
You're right.
Doesn't have the meaning you think it has.
True.
Doesn't have the meaning you think it has. Don't oversimplify. As Einstein said, keep it as simple as possible, but not simpler than is possible. And that's what all you guys do. You're like cartoons. You're not, you're like like, as you said, Tucker Carlson would lie to me about Putin. You're like serious. You know, tell you, oh,
My generation, what can I say? We're full ADD. We just want to know the
yeah,
answers,
yeah,
you know?
yes, I know that. But you know what? Okay, but here's an important thing. Why you're bringing that up? Yeah, most of the American kids are that way,
Absolutely.
and that's why America is weak. That's the big national security threat, and to some extent, it's less. England's going that way. England's like going that. But guess who isn't that way? The Russian kids are not that way, and
Yeah.
especially the Chinese and the Indians. There's something called BRICS. So the America, what's happening? Sorry, I didn't want to. Okay, let's get it.
Yeah, let's just keep going.
But basically, yeah, let's keep it on the physics.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah,
but
yeah.
basically, we're being
We did enough
destroyed.
politics.
We're being destroyed from within. Yeah, because people, most American kids cannot. It's just too much for them.
We're trying to
It's
get some
not
of
too
them
much.
up to speed here right now. In fact, I think a lot of our
Yeah,
chat is
yeah,
American.
yeah,
They want to know more about this.
yeah. But also, I think guess who's watching this? Guess who's gonna be watching? You have a lot of Russian, Chinese, and Indian
Probably.
kids from all over the world watching this. Okay, so they're gonna get it,
They're judging your
and they're
handwriting
gonna,
right now.
yeah. Oh, whatever. They can.
So,
Oh, yeah,
what about the holographic
yeah,
principle,
all right.
though? So,
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
wait. Okay, so wait. I
Sure.
haven't finished my point
Oh,
here.
okay. Keep it going.
I'm
More
on
history.
a trajectory. I'm on a narrative
Yeah,
here.
let's keep it going.
Wolfram is wrong. Wolfram's made a big Wolfram's folly, because his algorithms only run one way in time, past the present. Right? They only have psi history. Okay, that's why they don't work.
Yeah.
They don't work. They left out half of it. They left out half of it. Now, so the point is, okay, and the other schmucks. Who are the other schmucks? Other schmucks.
Yeah,
Besides Wolfram, we have Wolfram. We have Wolfram. We have Weinstein, Eric Weinstein.
Eric Weinstein. Okay, yeah, I wanted to know your opinion on him.
Yeah, Eric Weinstein. We have what's his name? Sam Altman.
Oh yeah, the AI guy.
Guess what? He's my next door neighbor.
Yeah.
He's my next door neighbor.
Get him on here. Tell him he's a schmuck.
I do. Well, yeah.
He's gonna make the world end with his AI programs.
Neighbor. Yeah, no way, neighbor.
Oh, good. We got to get that on there. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Altman, chat, and Elon Musk.
I think you just doxed Sam Altman.
Well, yeah. Well, they have to. I have docked myself.
And Elon Musk. I want to know your opinion on him as well. Like, why is this guy working on rockets? You know, like what?
Yeah. We're gonna talk about him.
Good.
The Grok and rockets. Yeah, these guys brilliant in their way. Okay, but who else? Another schmuck is Lex Friedman.
Why don't you like Lex Friedman?
I like him. That's what the schmuck doesn't mean I don't like him.
Oh, what does schmuck mean?
Yeah, I'm a schmuck.
Does that mean he just doesn't understand advanced science?
Yeah, and he's a schlemiel. You kind of, you're making stupid mistakes.
Yeah. No, I actually agree with you on all these people, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that they're not forward-looking enough in terms of what the science can really do.
And Joe Rogan, too. Who are some of the other?
Yeah, let's get Joe Rogan on that list for sure.
Yeah,
he thinks the MH370 videos have video game graphics in them when they're showing
all right.
macroscopic phase conjugation.
So what? So the point is, let's go. What am I doing?
I'm definitely getting canceled from Joe Rogan. I burnt that bridge.
Yeah, you did? Okay. That's okay. Now, here we go to the next one. Okay. So the point is, all AI is not conscious.
Yeah. Just language learning models, right?
Yeah, not conscious. Why? Because in order to make them conscious, you have to have the thing coming from the future. You have to have psi history. Psi destiny. And then that's going to generate consciousness, innocent consciousness, almost. You need both of them.
Yeah, the computers
And so
can't
you
look
have to,
forward. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't interrupt.
yeah, well, I mean, okay, let's go. Psi history is memory, our memory. That's called, that's, that is quantum entanglement, or EPR, quantum entanglement,
Yep.
signaling past to present. It's actually what it's like. Frank Wilczek's Nobel Prize, the Nobel Prize. I think I know, right? Time crystal effect. It's a time crystal. We are. That's us. We are like time crystal. When a memory, when suddenly a memory pops into your consciousness, right? You get an idea. You remember something suddenly. Then you think, that's the effect of the history quantum waves in your brain. They're set where certain memories will pop up at certain times in your stream of consciousness. Okay, but what about the other one? The other one, psi destiny. That is intuition, creativity.
Yeah, I read about this in
Genius,
your
genius.
paper.
Yeah, Mozart, Mozart.
Yeah.
Mozart said when he wrote his music, he said he was just listening to it. It was just popping up in his mind. He was remote viewing his future performances. That's called a loop in time. Loop in time. This guy named Novikov, physicist, Novikov, Igor Novikov, Moscow. I think he's dead. He may be Moscow. Book, River of Time. River of Time. Get that book. Let me. This is a book, everybody. Okay. Igor Novikov. Book. River of Time. Also, some of what I'm talking about, just get David Gladstone. David Gladstone. Great Race. Great Race. Goes up me. It's about me and up to David Grush. David Grush. His congressional at Congress.
Yep. Yeah, the UAP
It stops
hearings.
there.
Yeah,
Okay, that's on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. Get the Kindle. It's cheap. Amazon Kindle.
I don't know if
It's
we need to write
cheap.
that on there, but yeah, okay, gotcha.
All right. Okay. All right. So now where were we now? So what were you asking me about?
Well, so I guess the next thing is in terms of time in general. Do you think it's deterministic, or do you think that's more like string theory? We have different timelines. Now, I think you've done a good. You've presented the science here and the people who are responsible.
Okay. Now
for
wait.
it.
Okay. Now wait. Now here's the thing. There are two views.
Exactly.
Two views. One is many worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, but you have to look at Max Tegmark. Max Tegmark at MIT. Just look him up, and he has there's level one, two, three, and four. Okay. There are different meanings out there. This is levels 1 and 2 is all classical matter, and level 3 is mental mental worlds. Okay, these psi waves. Okay, so it depends what you're talking about. Okay, the different levels. See, people are too sloppy about this. So, what do you mean by, the universe itself? Okay, now I have to do a little cosmology. Okay, here is let's say, the initial singularity, initial white hole. Let's call it a white hole. Okay, and this is going to be this is the time, and now you have. I'm going to use different. This okay. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Just a minute. Just a minute. This is called the past. This is the past boundary condition. Well, I talked about before. The past boundary. I'm not going to go into the full details. Boundary. And here we have. And here we have. And this is the future boundary. And this pretend you're an immortal god. You're an immortal god. This is you. This is Ashton.
Nice.
Okay. This is. Let me just.
A can be enough.
Suppose you're an immortal. One of the.
Yeah.
You're like a Greek god.
I'm
right?
looking down
You're
on the
there all
universe
time.
and all time.
Well, no. You're actually here. You're living. This is Ashton.
Okay.
Ashton's world line.
Got it.
World line. From you've lived, from the, like, this is pretty close to the Big Bang is around down there. Big Bang.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is like the end time. The end time.
Sure.
Actually, this is called conformal time. So it's actually infinite clock time. And there's a whole lot. This has to do with This is what I called. Hang on. This is what I actually called. It's similar to a Penrose. What's called a Penrose diagram. So this is actually conformal. What's called conformal time. It's not the regular time for the clock. This is a finite. It's actually infinite clock time. It's what's called conformal infinity. You have to know mathematics. This is with the mathematics.
You're fine.
But here's the point. Suppose you're here. Suppose this is now 2024. Okay, 2024. You're getting what your mind. By the way, the psi waves. Just think, psi waves are mind waves. Mind waves. See, that's the big thing. All you are, your soul. You're just you're a pair of psi waves. You have advanced, and you have your destiny and history. Okay, and so information you're getting. Let's see. I want to do. Oh, just green. I want to do green. This is your mind, your brain, so to speak, and this is you're getting information, psi history. Okay, but you're also getting information. You're also getting information from the future. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, I'm with you there for sure.
Psi destiny. That's your destiny. Your karma, if you want. Karma. Yeah. So that's the way it works. Okay.
What does this mean though with
This
respect
whole
to it being deterministic or not though? Like, are there more than one timeline, or do you think there's just one timeline
well
and
here
whatever happened
right
always
now here
happened?
there's only one timeline, right?
Got it.
I'm only
Yeah.
talking one timeline. There was only one timeline. I haven't talked about the other possibilities yet. You know, it's not that simple. You're jumping, you're jumping ahead too quick, and you're losing information. This is the situation, okay, within a single, this is your timeline, right? This is a timeline, right? This is
Yep.
your timeline. But really, we only exist in like little piece like that. Yeah, born, I got it, right? Okay. And it's observer dependent. Now, the point, this is called the causal diamond. It's called the causal diamond. This is the observable universe. Observable
Yep.
universe. This is assumed to be vacuum, and these are light signals. See, these are also travel at the speed of light signals too. Well, they're light signals. I'm oversimplifying a little bit. I'm assuming that the psi waves also can travel like light signals. Maybe even electromagnetic. Okay, it's too much physics. I can't really explain it properly.
That's okay.
But
We don't need you to on here. I want to really
yeah,
hear the
okay.
conceptual side of it, honestly.
Now look. Okay, now look. Um, hang on a minute. Let me just change the color. Let me just change the color. Here is um, okay. This is Ashton. Ashton. And I got to see we're overlapping. This will be Jack. But we each have our own.
I'm with you.
The causal diamond is observer dependent.
Mm.
So we have slight, but the universe is so big that we might even be the same one. You know what I'm saying? Observer dependent.
So we're creating our own universes that are then overlapping.
No, we're not creating. We're in it. Well, it's from. We're not creating it. Well, yeah, I wouldn't say we're creating. We're receiving it, so to speak. You know, we're being influenced. These are all like influences, external influences on us. Okay.
Okay.
Now, this is all matter. This is all like classical. This is this is matter. This is the classical matter. But the psi waves are like my mental waves or mental signals. Okay, but now you can have, say we have a bunch, right now, say we're in this causal diamond. Now there might be another causal diamond out here, right? This could be other dimensions. So now this one, they talk about other dimensions.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
What does it mean? But this could be an alien. And this is us, okay? Normally, they can't, we're apart. We're separate. However, with warp Sarfatti, S field, be a little warp drive, warp wormhole, hole. Let's call it tick, tack, tech. Okay? So we can get from all that. So, this is what when David Grush and others, what is he doing, like extra dimensionals?
Yeah. It's the new hot thing.
He may mean this. See, maybe he doesn't, I don't know, I don't think he knows what he means. He doesn't know enough physics. He knows some, but he doesn't know enough. He may have this in mind. I don't know. This is a possibility.
So with this type of thing, do you think it's possible to have 0-point energy? Do you believe in 0-point energy with extra dimensions?
Yeah, no, that's bullshit. I mean, you're not asking a question that makes any sense. Your
Okay.
question. Okay, how do you say that? How it Wolfgang Pauli, one of the fathers of quantum mechanics, not even wrong. Wrong. You don't speak. You don't speak the language. Capiche? I mean, you don't. You got to talk. Or your sentence. Your sentence is ill posed
Okay.
for us scientists. For serious people.
Well, let me
For
say it in a
serious.
different way then, because I've looked at this paper between you and Ken Shoulders, where you talk about exotic vacuum objects and their ability to bore
Wait.
holes.
Who?
Ken
Wait, who?
Shoulders, you and Ken Shoulders. It's
Oh,
called
Ken Shoulders. Yeah,
Energy
I didn't write
Conservation
that.
from the Exotic Vacuum
No,
Revised.
yeah. No. First of all, forget that paper. I actually didn't write it. He wrote it. And that was back, yeah, it's a whole story, Ken Shoulders. He was doing experimental, he actually had some interesting things, but he didn't know any physics. I didn't actually write the paper. I never actually approved it. I saw the letter. He was a nice guy, so I didn't say, I'm not an academic. Yeah, I'm out of academia anyway. I didn't give a shit. But, if that's your source of information,
I just did a little bit of research. I'm just
yeah,
curious.
okay, but I haven't looked at that thing for like 30 years, 25 years, whatever he wrote it. He's an interesting, that's a whole story. He'd spent a whole hour about Ken Shoulders. He was a spook. He's Q. You ever see, he's one of these guys who made all these instruments for the CIA and, all these secret, little pins that do this and that.
Really?
You read James Bond,
Yeah.
it was a Q and James
Oh,
Bond.
Q and James Bond. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You had
He
me
was
confused for a
for
second.
the Americans. He was the American Q. Yeah, he knew Hal Puthoff and all these guys. He was an interesting guy, creative man, and he had his own auto gyro, his own little private one-man helicopter. And he lived. And he had all these turkeys on his big turkey farm in Marin. He's a real character, eccentric, interesting guy. But yeah, okay.
We
Okay.
disagree. So,
Now, try to ask me another question. I'll see if I can
yeah, okay.
rephrase
So
it.
my next one is going to be: do you think we can achieve superluminal speeds? Going back to what you were showing before with the David Grush stuff, in terms of how these tic tacs may operate. Do you think those are?
Yes, and the answer is yes. The answer is yes. And now you have to go on Vimeo. Vimeo. Well, maybe I can do it from here.
Yeah, you probably can.
Wait a
If you want
second.
to pull
Wait
it
a
up.
second. Yeah. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Let me go to. Let me go to. Vim.
Oh, we're
Jack.
gonna see your whole search history here.
So yeah, that's all right. Sarfatti.
He's got nothing to hide, chat.
No. Sarfatti. Vimeo. Let's see what comes up. Where's they have a lot of this thing.
Are you looking at the one that I clipped the other day with the had your thing
No,
about the tic tac?
yeah, no, that's a good one, but that's not the one I'm
Yeah, that
looking
was
for.
good. I
Let
like
me do
that.
Firenze. That's the one. Okay, this is the one.
Hopefully we'll be
So
able
where
to
is
hear
it?
this. I'm not sure we're gonna be able to hear it. But...
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so since you don't have a lot of patience, let me get to the part. Where's the part? Let me go. Let's see. Am I able to?
I just have a lot of questions for you. I want to make sure we get through as many
All
as
right, wait a
possible.
second. Wait a second. Yeah,
Oh, we can hear you.
claims that he got tensor to the
Can you?
induced
Yeah, we can hear.
gravitational warp
Yeah,
field
yeah.
current
Wait. Let me.
tensor
Wait.
to
Let me
people
get to.
tend to
Oh
think
wait. Let's start here. Let me
and you
get
see
to.
they're
Wait.
all
Let me get started here.
finds
Wait.
relative
Let me start here.
metric system
Oh no. Right. Let's.
drive and
Oh.
what it shows is that the
Yeah.
Einstein
I just
coupling
gotta.
is basically reciprocal of what you might call in string theory the string tension, which is basically the reciprocal of the force in newtons. So string tension is like the space-time stiffness of the fabric of
I didn't
a
really want to do
gravitational
that, but
field.
go ahead.
It's
Let
the
it get on to it.
resistance, the bending by energy. So these are just different ways of looking at this concept, which is helpful for physicists to conceive new ideas.
Yeah.
This is the most important idea in all of Einstein's relativity theory, both the special theory of 1905, which didn't have any gravity in it, and the 1915 theory of general relativity that incorporated the gravitational field using the equivalence principle of weightless warp drive and the action-reaction principle. And so this is the basic light cone structure. It's an invariant. All observers, no matter how they're moving, whether they're accelerating, not accelerating, will see the invariant local light cone. This is a bedrock upon which this is the cornerstone of the temple of Einstein's relativity theory. Here we have a picture from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy showing a four-dimensional space-time in which there is no gravity. It's totally flat in the four-dimensional sense. And you think of the light cones like little arrows, little spins, analogous to magnetic moments in a ferromagnet, or analogous to electric dipoles and Stewart-Hameroff's microtubules that might be the seat of our consciousness. And you see they're all lined up parallel. There's no relative tilt of neighboring light cones to each other. That means there's zero curvature. This picture of curvature of space-time as the relative tilting of light cones is due to Roger Penrose, who recently got a Nobel Prize along with Stephen Hawking for their work on black holes. So here we see again a key construct in the classical theory of relativity. I say classical because it omits quantum EPR entanglement effects. That changes the ball game. But we won't get into that now. That's a more advanced topic that, in particular, Roderick Sutherland down in Australia in his papers has shown how to extend this notion. But this is the notion of a retarded causation, which is also the basis of Bell's locality inequality, which is actually violated in quantum mechanics. So this only works in vacuum, and Alice's past light cone must intersect Bob's future light cone in order for Alice to see what Bob is doing using what are called transverse polarized far field electromagnetic signals. Einstein called them light rays, but it's more general than that. Now this is what faster than light travel is not. This is what people tend to think it is, where the UFO is actually traveling outside the light cone. When it's outside the light cone, it's like a tachyon is faster than light. But that's not what warp drive is. Warp drive is very different. Warp drive is motion without motion. It's the actual controlled tilting of light cones, of neighboring light cones, the relative tilting. That is controlling the curvature field directly with small amounts of energy. That's the key, small amounts of energy. This again is a slide from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy on relativity, and it shows the formation of a black hole with the event horizon. I will not go into detail on that at this particular time, but just check out the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy on light cones. Here we have the extreme case of the correct way to think about fast and light warp drive, which may contradict, actually, I'm not sure, all the published papers by Alcubierre and everyone else, Notario, all of them. They may not understand this, but we'll see. Time will tell. And here, what's happening, Alice is in fast and light warp drive relative to Bob. And so what we see is that Alice's light cone is now tilted at 90 degrees to Bob's light cone. This is the extreme case. So light cones are perpendicular to each other. And therefore, Alice is able to see what's in front of her future from retarded signals from the future light cone of Bob. See, this is unusual. You see, normally Alice's past light cone must intersect Bob's future light cone. That's when there's no gravity, when there's no curvature at all. That's the way it is. But when you have warp drive, and in an extreme case when it goes globally faster than light, even though locally it's not faster than light inside the light cone. But so when Alice's red future light cone intersects Bob's red future light cone, and that's the situation. So you see, there is no event horizon the way some of the papers say there is. In other words, Alice is not blind at all. She can see she can see Bob in front of her. So there we are. So Alice controls the orientation of her UFO's local light cone relative to the cosmological Hubble flow with small amounts of energy, using the effect I first revealed at the DARPA NASA 100-year Starship Orlando October 2011 meeting.
So
here I have a picture of what I was talking about before, hopefully a little bit clearer. And you can see that Alice departs the Earth and say goes to Mars very quickly. And one can see in the middle of the flight there that Alice at position A sees position C ahead of her, because the retarded light ray from C reaches Alice at A. That is because, again, Alice's future light cone intersects Bob's at C, his future light cone. So when the two future light cones intersect, then there is no more event horizon in the sense that Alcubierre and others have said there is. I think they're just mistaken. They just made a mistake about that. I could be wrong. We'll find out. Time will tell.
Yeah,
and here we have what I've been getting to. Here we have time travel back from the future. And we don't have to worry about Stephen Hawking's chronology protection conjecture, because this is not really a closed time-like curve. It's a closed time-like curve is like a short circuit. But this here, you see, it's an open circuit. We haven't shorted out, so there's no catastrophe at all. And I think this is not just a theory. This is an explanation of observations, all the weird observations of the flying saucers from time immemorial for thousands of years can easily be understood on the basis of this picture. This is, I think, a real conceptual breakthrough, which none of my colleagues, well, maybe a few of them now, maybe Jose Rodell understands it, maybe a few, but none of the top guns, I think, understand what I'm suggesting here. Maybe I'm wrong. We shall see.
Okay, there we go.
So real quick, I have to use the restroom, but can you explain to the audience while I go what time dilation is and what your thoughts are on that? And I'll be right back.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to explain. You know why? Because this element, this is like physics element. This is high school physics.
Well, the reason why I asked is because I want to know if there's an impact of time dilation on the video that you just saw, if that can help explain why there's no paradox, or if you think that we don't need that because time might be deterministic in the sense that if we went back in the past, we always went back in the past.
You know what? Your question makes absolutely no. It's like I'm listening to a schizophrenic talk word show. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. The whole point about warp drive, if you understood Alcubierre, there's no time dilation at all in the warp drive. But you can make it so there's time dilation. You can make the time, but in the what's called geodesic warp drive, the internal clock of the crew inside the ship remains synchronized with the clocks outside the ship.
Okay. So
how
do you get away without a paradox then, I guess is the question.
Why is there a paradox?
Well, if the clocks stay in sync, we don't have a time dilation effect as I approach the speed of light, then isn't there going to be a situation where I can go to the past?
Because you don't understand shit. You understood nothing what I said. Because you're thinking like Elon Musk. You're thinking that there's a ship that's going through space. It's not. The ship is not moving through space. It's not special relativity. It's general relativity. And the problem is that most of you humans are you're just too stupid to get it, I think. I'm sorry. I'm half alien. You're on the
nuts. Yeah, that's okay. Lay it on me. Tell us dumb humans how we are. Yeah.
My mind I mean, by the way, CIA John Ramirez and Gary Nolan and Scott Tyler, all of us working this field, most of us are hybrids. Gary Nolan said he's discovered that there's an extra brain structure in all the experiences, all the contactees. You know about that, right? You know about that?
No, tell us about that while I go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, you should get Gary Nolan. But okay. I'll take a pee too. I'm gonna take a break.
Come inside. Come inside. Come on. Come inside. Come inside. Okay, are we what do we got going on here, chat? Did we took a coffee break?
Yeah, just a minute. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you able to hear? Oh, you can hear me, really? Oh,
Oh yeah. Did you not mute yourself? Oh, we're gonna be listening.
Yeah, the
to
Bluetooth, the Bluetooth reaches over to the toilet. Just a minute. I'm walking back. Well, make sure my pants are. Make sure I look decent here. Just a minute.
See if the chat could hear you.
That's all right, didn't it? Let them hear. Did they hear that?
I'm not sure. I can't tell from the chat. It sounds like maybe they didn't because no one said anything.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait. Just a minute. I got to put this on properly.
Little intermission there. That was good.
A little. And no, we had some emissions too.
How about
intermission? Emissions. Yeah. All right. So where were we at now?
How about we stop sharing for just a second? We can just have a conversation, and then if we need to go back to the whiteboard, we can pull it back up again.
Okay. So how do I do that now again?
Should be at the top to shop. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So stop sharing. All right.
Okay, because I want to get I want to get your opinion on a few more people. So I'm gonna throw some names out there. Oh wait, we got double Jack Sarfatti. Let me remove this person. I think you gave away the Zoom to a few too many people. Okay, so what are your thoughts on Thomas Bearden and scalar physics in general? Do you think that that's a way to achieve gravity manipulation with zero electromagnetic?
It's total crap.
Okay. And why do you say that?
Raises my blood pressure. Because he's an idiot. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He was a spook. He's a crackpot. Okay, nothing to it.
Okay. How about Thomas Townsend Brown? What do you think about him? Do you ever get to meet him?
No, more bullshit.
More bullshit. Okay. What about Salvatore Paez, who has a superforce theory? It seems very similar to yours.
Total crap. Another crackpot. Incompetent.
Okay. And what about actually, that's all I have for names. How about the idea of superconductivity? Do you think LK99, you follow that at all this last summer? Or I think there was a American Physical Society thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Why should I don't have any thoughts on it.
Do you think it's real, or do you think people have tried to debunk it and say it's not really superconductive metamaterial?
Why you ask me such a stupid question? It's a stupid question to ask me. Why? I'm not working in it. I don't know. I'd love it to be true.
Yeah.
It'd be great if it was true.
And that's my next question. Because, so I guess the better question, smarter question is, I've seen you say that you think that metamaterials can achieve superconductivity through potentially precise crystal lattice structures. Why is that important for anti-gravity? Or whatever you want to call anti-gravity.
Okay, all right, that's a better question. It's room temperature
high temperature
superconductivity.
Gotcha. Yep.
No, okay, now I have to go back.
Oh, we got to go back to the whiteboard? Okay, let's get it back up.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that, do you think that AI can help us find those types of metamaterials?
Of course, yes. Absolutely.
Do you think we'll see gravity control in next 20 years, 25 years? Do you think we already have it?
Now you're asking kind of a dumb question.
Okay.
We're seeing it all the time. That's what the UFOs are.
Okay. But those are us
You
from the
cannot
future, right?
Some of them, we don't know. Some of them are, yeah. Not all of them. Let's see what happened there. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we seeing my stuff?
Yeah, we're seeing you.
Okay. So, all right. So, wait a minute. All right. So, all right. So, what are you asking now? Ask the question again.
Yeah, so I think we were talking about superconductivity and why it's important, room temperature superconductivity. Why is it important for gravity manipulation?
Okay, first of all, superconductors.
For the chat, those are semiconductors with zero electrical resistance. They can produce the Meissner effect and flux ping.
If they don't even know what a superconductor is, they shouldn't even be watching this.
Just in case.
Yeah. But okay, they are thermodynamic, equilibrium, what I call closed systems. In other words, this is environment. This is the superconductor. This is insulating wall. In other words, you cool it down. It has to be temperature.
Yeah, in order to get the Cooper pairs to form.
Yeah. Very low temperature, right? Mm-hmm. Laser. There you go. Yeah, mirror, like a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
A mirror. You have a pump. You have photons. Pump photons come in. You have these atoms, like two-level atoms. The pump photons come in, and they excite the atoms into excited states, and then there's a decay of the excited state, and out comes coherent
matter,
laser photons. Your laser beam, right? An open system. Not in equilibrium. Non-equilibrium. Okay. Now, back to superconductor. Superconductor has a giant wave function. Coherent. Inside. The Cooper pairs. Cooper pairs are all what's called the Bose-Einstein, like what's a Bose-Einstein condensate, they call it. Laser, same thing here. There's like a giant wave function there.
Bosons, yeah.
So, in a certain sense, a laser is actually equal. Well, it's neutral, so a laser is a non-equilibrium superfluid, like helium, superfluid.
Yeah, like condensing all the laser, the photons onto one another, right? Onto the boson.
Yeah.
Bosonic
right.
wave. Mm-hmm.
Like a non-equilibrium. Okay, now general metamaterial. You have the meta artificial atoms, artificial meta atoms,
Mm-hmm.
meta atoms.
So we create a very
Various kinds
specific structure here then. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's think of what something called quantum dots. Look up quantum dots. It's a good example. For example, quantum dots. Okay. But you have pump photons coming in, like a laser. And what happens is, okay, here's a photon, and here is a meta atom. And there's actually a bunch of, and there are a bunch of meta, and the meta atoms are interacting with each other. Okay. The meta atoms, any many particle system, any many particle system forms emergent, what are called quasi-particles. Particles, and also collective modes. Also, you look in the entire, look up normal modes of oscillation. Modes of oscillation. Okay, so now it's like a laser, open system. Right, like a laser. Now, what happens? So say this is the fuselage. Metamaterial. And you have an energy source, some kind of pump photons. And what here, the photon here, it interacts with these, meta atoms, and it forms. Oh, let me use a different. I know. Let's do color. Hang on. So these little wiggles, those are, let's call them the quasi particles. The quasi particles. Okay. Now, like photons, they're hybrids. Hybrid pump photons with the meta atoms. Or we can think of they're like they're things like polaritons, like polaritons. Like they're like photons plus electric dipoles. The meta atom is an electric dipole. By the way, we are microtubules in our bodies, microtubules. We are metamaterial. Metamaterial. In fact, all living matter is metamaterial. In fact, we're artificial. artificial. right? We're organic. Yeah, we are organic, organic, molecular, right? And you can think of it. Think of the microtubules. Are like rolled metasurfaces. If you go to Hameroff, you go to Stuart Hameroff.
Yeah, we might have to, just for brevity, we might have to skip the whiteboard here because I think that we can just say some of this here in general. We're recording.
No,
I
don't
well.
really. No, I can't. I don't want to skip it because it organizes my mind. Organizes my mind visually. I think visually. I don't think in audio.
Oh, okay.
And people that have weak minds, this is not for everybody. This is only the best and the brightest. The best, the brightest, with strong minds. We're like the Marines. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
We don't want to. No more weak pukes. No more weak pukes. No snowflakes. Flakes. This is not a space. Not a safe space.
Definitely not. This is definitely not a safe space.
Not a
I might be getting
space.
struck down for this. We'll see.
Wait, come on.
Okay, so back to superconductivity, though. We were trying to get to what the nature of it related to gravity is. So let's focus on that.
I'm getting there, but you can't get there too fast, or you don't have shit. If you get there too fast, you're like Pais. You have Pais. You got Townsend Brown.
I'd love to get you in a room with Salvatore Pais. That would be a great conversation. I feel like between you guys.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't. I wouldn't waste my time because you know what? He's actually a very nice man. I've seen him. He's a nice Italian man.
Yeah, he's really nice.
Nice guy. And I don't want to destroy him personally because I just destroy him.
You think so? I think it would be good.
Absolutely. No, absolutely no. I'm a fucking PhD in theoretical physics trained by Hans Bethe, and he has some kind of low-level degree.
I think he's got a PhD as well, though, actually.
From where?
I'll have to look it up and see.
Look him up.
No.
Look him up.
I'll look it up while you keep going. You keep going, though.
Yeah, no. But what are his back? I'm curious now. What is his educational background?
Oh, okay. So we're gonna cite. So yeah. So he has his PhD in mechanical and aerospace engineering in 1999 under the subject of bubble generation under reduced gravity conditions for both co-flow and cross-flow configurations. It was from Case Western Reserve.
Okay, but not a bad. But you know what? None of what he learned is relevant to the physics. He's not a theoretical physicist. That gravity he was doing was observational stuff on Newtonian gravity, had nothing to do with general relativity. He doesn't understand it.
His equations are pretty similar to yours, I thought, but go ahead.
No, they're not, because you're an asshole schmuck who doesn't know what the fuck he's saying.
That's fair.
They're nowhere near like mine.
Oh, okay.
There's no comparison. Because you don't know anything.
Yeah.
You're totally ignorant of how academia works, what physics is, different specializations. He's an engineer. He did not take the kinds of courses I took. And he doesn't know what I know. And I don't know what he knows, by the way. Sure. Science is big. It's very he's specialized. I'm sure he knows, his narrow field of mechanical engineering and certain things he knows, which I would not pretend to know.
Well, so
but he doesn't know what I know. He's not qualified. Okay, wait. It's like with doctors. There's a guy, say, who fixes broken bones, and it's a brain surgeon. It's a guy who fixes your broken bone. You don't want him to operate on your brain. They're two separate things. They're both doctors.
No, I agree.
And in their respective fields, same thing here. He's not qualified in this field. What he says has no weight. In fact, it's wrong. Period.
Respectfully, okay? I think that you guys are just different ways.
And it was a scandal that the Navy is incompetent. The people around them in the fucking Navy, they should be fired.
You think so?
He's scared of them.
Don't you think? Like, my
Yes.
opinion is that he's actually like seen some UFOs personally. Otherwise, how would he come up with
Oh,
those
well, that's
patents?
different.
Right?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the patents. They wasted money on patents that any good physicist right away, everybody knows it. Looked and said it was bullshit. I'm not the only one. That's the
Okay.
consensus of competent people.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see.
Well,
But
he's a nice man. I don't want to be, nice man personally. I have nothing against him personally.
so you think those patents though are what do they call it? Limited hangout? Is that what they call it? Where it's like you think it's
I don't know
disinformation or what?
No, that's just that people are stupid. People in the patent office are stupid. The people in the Navy are stupid. IS is stupid. And it's just the triumph of stupid. We're living in an idiocracy. We're living in a very stupid society right now. And it's because everything's been dumbed down with a bad education for 3 or 4 generations. And that's why the United States is going down. We're going under. We're
Oh,
going under because compared to other countries, we have a lot of stupid people running things. And then we get into that. So let's get back to
yeah. Let's
the
go back to
side.
the superconductivity here. So I
All
think
right,
you
so
had
the
kind of
super guy,
explained how it worked a little bit. Yeah.
yeah. So the metamaterial. Let's go back. We probably pissed off a lot of people. That's okay. So here's the UFO. This is a metamaterial. Metamaterial.
Do you think that's bismuth, magnesium, zinc potentially as the metamaterial? And they talk about that
I
a
don't
lot.
know if it's. I don't know about this. See, I don't know. I don't.
Okay.
Don't ask me. It's
Not
stupid.
sure the
That's
exact
a
one.
stupid.
Okay.
We don't know what. You know. What? There's a whole other thing. We have to get retrieved material from the UFOs. Well, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
I don't. I'm not. I'm not. Ask Gary Nolan or ask Larry Lemke. I'm not, doing the research on the bismuth. I have my doubts about it, but I don't know. I don't have to know that. That's not the way. That's not the level I operate on. That's not what physicists, what theoretical physicists like me do. Okay.
Sure.
Now, the point is, suppose they say, okay, so the point is, there's some energy source in here. There's an energy source, like an energy source. It's a pump. A pump. Okay, it's an energy source, and that energy source is activating. So it's forming a what's called a Froelich room temperature which are let's call it like you know let's call it a macro quantum coherent they call it, it's technically called an order parameter. You can think of it, it's like a giant wave function, like a giant
Yep.
sub.
Like a matter wave, coherent matter wave, maybe.
Yeah. Of these quasi particles.
Yeah, Lockheed Martin has actually patent for a coherent matter wave beam. Pretty cool.
Well, I don't know. Don't bring in
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
quasi particles. It may be related. It may not be. I have to see it. All right. So now, once you have, let's say this is psi, this giant wave function, just like a superconductor, but it's a room temperature. I'm going to say it's the square root of n e to the I theta. This is a complex function, complex number. This is what's called the polar representation. Of a complex number. Here's a complex plane, and this would be n, and this is like theta. This is this is what's called the real part of z, or called real part of psi. Hang on, called psi. This is a real psi. There's imaginary psi. And that's what this is. Now, this is a giant thing. This n is very big. It could be like 10 to the 23, something like that. The number, this is like the number of, this is the number of metamaterial quasi-particles in the same single particle quantum state, like Bose-Einstein condensate, okay? Now you look, that material, that material has a resonance, Okay, now we get into the nitty gritty here. That resonance is, there's something called, I'll call it E sub R. This is called the electrical permittivity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like dielectric. So like, roughly speaking, like it's similar to dielectric constant, but it's a pure number. It's what's called the relative constant. Okay, ER is equal to E over E0. This is the vacuum
Permittivity.
where C squared is 1 over E0.
Mm-hmm.
U0 is 3 times 10 to the 8 meters per second in vacuum.
Speed
In
of
an
light.
inertial, what's called
Yeah, go ahead.
in vacuum. Okay, but the speed of light, the speed of light in matter is different. In matter, and we call it C prime squared, is C squared times epsilon R mu R. These are okay. Again, it's different. And if you want the square root of epsilon R mu, I'm only doing ER here. The square root of that's called that's sort of the index of refraction. This is all standard physics, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me go back. So now,
very standard so far.
so ER is 1 minus omega p squared over omega 0 squared minus omega squared plus I gamma omega. This is a resonance formula. This is called omega p is called the plasma frequency. And omega 0 is the resonance frequency. Resonance frequency of like the meta atoms from the meta atoms, let's say, roughly. I'm oversimplifying with it. And omega is the external pump frequency. This looks at this. If you plot this, this looks like it's like a resonance. This is frequency, and this is ER, and here this is omega 0. That's the resonance, and this is gamma, the width. Okay, the width of the resonance. Spectroscopy. Okay. So that's the actual math.
Okay.
Now, what you do, let's get look at ER at the resonant frequency. And if you do that, that's equal to 1 minus omega p squared. The omega 0, the first time, you just have I gamma omega 0. Okay, and I could write that well, I squared is equal to -1, imaginary unit, and let me reset. We call it plus I. It's a complex number, okay?
Yeah.
But here's the trick: gamma. Remember, gamma is the width of the resonance, half width. That's gamma. Gamma, it turns out, is 1 over tau, roughly, square root of n. Square root of n. That's gamma. Now, this comes from, this is derived from Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. For what's called number n delta theta. This is phase. This is the phase of the coherent wave. Where psi is the square root of n e to the I theta. That's his theta. Got a piece of apple stuck in my thumb. Newton's revenge. I started eating Newton's apple. Okay, now let's go. So now, ER at resonance is equal to 1 plus I omega p squared, the resonant frequency, times, now, but that gamma turns out to be tau square root of n. See that? Square root of n, because it was in the denominator. This is algebra now. You have to have square root of n. So, so ER is proportional to the square root of n. But the square root of n is going to get very big. And in the condensate, it could be like 10 to the 30 or something. It could be very big. So what is ER? ER, so the width, gamma, is like 1 over the square root of n, but the height is scaling as n. That's the trick. That is what the Sarfatti has discovered, boys. The Russians know this. The Russians, Putin sent his guys over to interview me when Obama was president. They came over twice, so the Russians know all this shit. In fact, after they invited me to Moscow last July, I didn't go. So your earlier question: are the Russians ahead? They probably are, because they have smarter people than we do. All right, so let's go on.
So is the trick here that the superconductivity, due to the nature of the greater n increasing here, is that this is the secret sauce, especially essentially for?
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. This is it. But most people be too stupid to even understand anything I'm saying. So that's why they're like I'm talking to a bunch of apes at the monolith. All right. This is the way it works.
Understood.
All right. So now, Einstein's field equation, in a simple, I'm oversimplifying, Einstein's field equation, 1915, is 8 pi g over c to the 4 t mu nu. But that's the vacuum. They made a mistake. What all the king's men understand, it shouldn't be the vacuum. It should be what's inside the material there. Why should this is inside the material? So why use the speed of light in vacuum where there's no material? You see, the whole thing is stupid.
Yeah, the speed of light's not constant, is that what we're saying, due to the permittivity of the element, either free space or the element itself?
Yes. So when it's a little more complicated. I'm oversimplifying it a lot.
I appreciate it.
There are all kinds of problems about what's called covariance and invariance and the tensor. But we could.
Yeah, the sake of time, it's nice to just simplify it for us.
All right. So now look. This number 8 pi g over c to the 4, this is the vacuum, that's equal to 2 times 10 to the minus 43 newtons to the minus 1, reciprocal newtons. A newton is a unit of force in MKS, where this is the gravity, this is gravity. And that's measured in 1 over meters squared. Mm-hmm. That's curvature, meters squared, 1 over area, okay? But now we stick in, okay, let's go here. 1 over c to the 4th goes as epsilon r mu r squared, goes as the square. I've forgotten. I'm forgetting about the mu r because that's, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. The mu r is the magnetic, that's with the magnetic permeability. I'm only talking about now the dielectrical part. Just keep it as, just as simple as possible without it being simpler than is possible. So what we have is that G mu nu is 2 times 10 to the minus 43 times this thing is n, and then what I have, let's see, I had n omega omega to the 4th, omega 0 squared, and then I have a tau squared times T mu nu. Okay. This is what's called, this is the stress energy tensor. This is like from the pump, the electromagnetic pump, you could say. Okay. And this is the resonance. Now, this n could be like say what, 10 to the, what do we want? Let's say that n say it's like 10 to the
some big number.
Anything. It could be 10 to the 40.
Sure.
Why can't it be 10 to the 40? Why not? And then this could be big too. Now normally, WP over W, normally this is less than 1, what's called far fields. But what's called the near field, which is what we're interested in, the near field, this could be pretty big also. But so the point is this strengthens. So this is the secret. So we're able. So what this means is we can make a desire. We have a desired G mu nu field. In order to say we want to cancel the Earth's gravity. Suppose we have a UFO. It's hovering. It's hovering, right? Here's standing under it. This is Travis Taylor. This is at Skinwalker Ranch. And I forgot to show you, you can make it anti-gravity, because there's a phase, that I in there, because of the I that's in there, because psi goes as the square root of n e to the I theta. By playing with this parameter, I can change the effective sign of the gravity from attractive to repulsive. Okay? It's like getting negative mass without negative mass. See, there's all kinds of stuff. This thing is so beautiful. Leaves everybody in the dust. So why do I get pissed off? I don't want to hear about idiots. Pais, Townsend. They're monkeys. You understand? They're monkeys playing a typewriter. They're the apes at the monolith in Space Odyssey, grunting around. They don't know. They don't know what to look for. This is the real theoretical physics of Albert Einstein. It's taught to me by people like Hans Bethe, Richard Feynman, the top guys, not the mechanical engineers, fixing the toilets at Case Western Reserve University. You understand what I'm saying here? This is simple. Now it turns out that any top theoretical physicist, students at Caltech, at MIT, at least 5 years ago, I don't know how it is now, at Harvard, before the woke assholes took everything over, they could have been, they could be having a PhD oral exam, and I could be the examining professor, and I tell them, give them certain hints, and I say, tell me how to solve the problem. And they should be able to solve this problem because it's very elementary. It's not hard. It's easy. It's an easy problem, not a hard problem. It's that because people are so stupid and don't know basic physics that they think it's a hard problem. So anybody tells you that that we don't understand the technology, it's 1,000,000 years in the future, that guy is an idiot, or he's lying, deliberately lying. Okay?
Yeah,
so that guy, okay, so that's it. They are fake. They are false prophets. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Or if they do, they're misleading you deliberately. But generally, they're just stupid schmucks who don't know, they don't know their shit from shinola about this thing. So there it is. So
Great.
now,
So
so
now,
where are we? Okay.
oh, okay.
Okay. So let's just. So the idea is, you have a desired G mu nu, and it's equal to 2 times 10 to the minus 43 times this n times this other shit and T mu nu. So you keep this fixed. This is something you desire to cancel the Earth's gravity. I can show you how to calculate it, but that's already doing too much. You use what's called the divergence theorem. Divergence theorem. In a special case, you use the divergence theorem and you can calculate the G field. The G field. And you make it anti-gravity. You can cancel out the Earth's field. You cancel out the Earth's field by choosing n and theta. There's actually a theta hidden in there. You could by making n big enough and choosing theta just right, you can reverse the sign so it becomes anti-gravity. Okay? For small, this is the energy input. For small, as this coefficient gets big, this is fixed, this gets small. You understand? That's what the idea is. You want to make this coupling big enough and this small enough so you could do it simply. And the point is, we see these things flying around. They have this technology to do it. This exists.
Oh, I agree.
This is operational. Okay. But this is how it works. This is how it works. Now, the problem is, back to Travis Taylor and the guys at Skinwalker, they got sick because when it's anti-gravity, when it's hovering, in other words, when there's the, so there is the Earth's gravity. This is the Earth's gravity, right? And then there's the ship makes anti-gravity. This is the UFO, the anti-gravity, minus G, to cancel. We want to cancel it, right? So, are you with me?
Yep.
Do you see what I just did?
Yeah, it's not.
I'm making the G. I'm making the G to cancel the blue G cancels the red G, but this makes a blue shift. That's a blue shift.
Yep.
A blue shift. What's that noise? That's ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation. You got radiation sickness. It's like being in a nuclear explosion.
Yeah, you don't want to be underneath these things, huh? It's gonna make
you don't want to be underneath it.
Is that yours, BP?
Yeah. It's not me. Who is that? Somebody.
So we only have a few more minutes,
right.
and I appreciate you going through this.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a quick look at some videos that I've got that may show this effect? I want to get your opinion, if that's okay.
All right. Okay. Go ahead.
And then I've got to drop because I do have another engagement, but I've appreciated this time. This has been awesome.
All right.
So
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick. And let's take a look at these videos here.
Okay, wait a minute. I don't see it. Let me see. What's
Can
going
you see
on?
it?
Wait a minute. Let me go down my other laptop. Hang on. Well, go ahead. Well, can I make it bigger? How do I make it bigger? Oh, yeah. Okay.
You can see it? Can you make it bigger? Let me see. Uh-oh, did I just crash it? Okay, there we go. How's that? Can you see it? Oh, I lost you. No, you're muted. I can't hear you. Somehow you muted yourself, I think. Yeah, we can't hear Jack. Looks like the chat says as well. Says your timer's bleeping. Can't hear you. I'm going to play the video even though I can't hear you, though. Yeah, I'm just going to play it. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this, even if you can't hear me, or you can probably hear me, I just can't hear you. So the reason why I show you this is the videos that I've been talking about. I'm not going to go into all of them, but to what you just said with the anti-gravitational aspects, this is why I want to talk to you, because when we're looking at these orbs come in, I think that we're looking at that type of anti-gravitational effect. I actually think there's two anti-gravitational effects happening here. The one is that they're displaced from space-time, and then you see them do this pattern, where it seems like this pattern has some purpose, which I would wonder if this is ER equals EPR at work, maybe at Einstein-Rosen bridge. I can't hear you at all, by the way, Jack. Dr. Sarfatti, I can't hear you. But no, I didn't mute him. And And then what we see here, in an essence here in a second, is a potential amplification of the energy here, which makes me wonder about the equations that you just posted, where the plane disappears. Yeah, see if you can fix the sound on your side. While you're doing that, I'm going to play the other video as well. Yeah, chat says we can't hear you. I can't hear you either, unfortunately. I don't have you muted. You're definitely not muted. I'll just commentate while you are figuring that out. On this one, we can see the heat signatures of the orbs, and you can tell that they are displacing gravity themselves, but they're also pulling themselves forward here at the same time. Still can't hear you. No. Oh, wait, there you go. Say something again. Jack, say something. I heard some feedback there, so it sounded like you're getting sound through one of your devices. I don't know which one it is. Can you say something? Still can't hear you. No. Microphone's still dead. No, can't hear you. I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you. Still can't hear you.
You can't hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, you're in. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I think what happened, I don't know what happened, some with the AirPods. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah. You're good. You're good.
All right.
So what do you think? Are we looking at video games effects here? Or what do you
think?
I
don't think anything of them. You know why?
Why?
Because anything could be CGI. I'm not an expert in evaluate. I'm not a CIA analyst in evaluating. There are people who can evaluate that. That's not me. It's not my job. It's a waste of my time. I don't give a shit because I don't know. I can be fooled as easy as the next idiot.
Oh, absolutely.
I know the limits of my expertise. So this it looks like bad CGI to me. Anything can be fake. You know, the deep fakes now. You can't believe anything you see.
It's true. But
you don't know. This has to be done by, there's a forensic, this guy, Juan Faria, I know, he has a guy in Israel, if they're still alive. They can do it. They do a computer analysis and check to make sure it's not artificial. So this is worthless. There's no evidence, nothing. It's worthless because we don't know how this was done. Who made this?
So there's no way to tell just from a physics standpoint if this is what it would look like.
There's no physics. There's nothing here. Don't you understand? It's nothing. It has no value whatsoever unless it's analyzed by the proper people with the proper equipment to check pixel by pixel whether it's fake or not fake. They can tell. I can't tell. That's not my field of expertise, and you should be intelligent enough to know the difference, what I'm able to talk about. I can't talk about that one way or the other.
Oh, I just wanted to see what your opinion was. That's fine.
Just like anybody else. The deep fakes are very good.
Oh, that's true.
It could be made by artificial intelligence. We don't know if it's real. Where'd you get it from? Who gave it to you?
Oh, we found it on the internet from 2014.
Well, then that's bullshit. You can't believe anyone who believes what they're seeing on the internet without checking it out is an idiot.
I checked into it. I think I found the guy who leaked those videos.
That's why we have a war in Ukraine, because people are stupid like you and everybody, most Americans. They're idiots, naive, gullible schmucks.
No, I'm pretty sure those videos are real, but you're entitled to your opinion for sure.
Yeah. My opinion is worthless. Your opinion is worthless because you don't know what the fuck you're seeing. You don't know if it's real or not.
I'm pretty sure it's real.
There's a way of finding out if it's real, but you haven't done your job. You haven't done any due diligence.
Well, I did find the leaker. I found the leaker of the videos. So
you can give it. I can put you in touch. Oh, wait a minute. You know Juan Faria?
Yeah. We'll get in touch with him.
Okay, so you give the file to Juan. He gives it to his friends in Israel, and they'll tell you if it's real or not.
Yeah.
He has guys who can do that. That's expertise. That's like the highest, like the National Reconnaissance Office, National Security Agency. They do that. The NRO, they do that.
Oh, I FOIA'd the NRO. I sent them to the AARO as well. So I hope they come back to me.
No, not ARO. The National
National Reconnaissance Office, NRO.
Right. Yeah. Not the ARO. They're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
They're dumber than you are.
That's fair.
So the point is this.
Yeah, go ahead.
The point is this. All this stuff you see on the internet is worthless. It's worthless. It has no scientific value whatsoever. No evidence. And by the way, that's probably why a lot of at the Pentagon there, they said, there's no evidence. If that's the kind of evidence you give them, of course there's no, unless they, or
two military videos though.
Let's put it, if it's real, they'll classify it. I have seen. Oh wait, now I have seen the real thing.
Oh, you've seen the real thing.
You haven't seen it. I've seen it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I've seen it. So that's why I'm in, because I know the stuff is real, but not the shit you're showing me.
Oh.
I saw, stuff that's vetted by the military. That's it's from the horse's mouth. And
did it look like a Tic Tac or did it look like an orb?
I'm not.
Can't say.
I can't. Now, it's like they.
Not trying to get you in trouble here, but yeah, I'm curious.
I know. I don't want to get my source in trouble.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
Okay.
But I thought you heard it first. I thought you'd seen it firsthand, though.
What?
I thought you'd seen it firsthand, though. You just said you've seen it.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen firsthand evidence from my active military source, who's in charge of the project. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Well,
I've seen, but I know what I'm seeing is not fake because I know who this guy is. I work with him. I know who the guy is. He's the real McCoy, and the reason they're showing it to me is because they know I can. They were not able to explain it.
Yeah.
That's why they came to me. They're not stupid.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So
and also they're not American.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. They're not American.
Oh, well, I don't want you to get your source in trouble here, but yeah, I appreciate it, sir.
They're not American, and that's why President Biden, listening to and Blinken and Stinkin and Newland and all that. That's why they've lost. I was at Bohemian Grove, this place called Bohemian Grove, a couple of years ago.
I've heard the rumors, yeah.
And I heard Robert Gates was talking. Somebody asked him a question. He was giving a talk up at the lake there, where they have the ceremony, with the owl. And somebody asked him. This is back pre-COVID. This is when Biden was, when Trump was the president then, and Biden was no longer vice president. And somebody asked Gates. Somebody from the audience asked Gates what they thought of Joe Biden. And Gates just looked and said, every foreign policy decision that Joe Biden was involved with ended in disaster. Yeah. This is back like 2018, right? At the Bohemian Grove. And so now we see it. The pullout from Kabul was totally botched by the idiots, the incompetents. And now Kiev, let me just say, if you look at and do your research, Putin is now preparing an offensive. That's why they're pulling out the power stations with the missiles. Putin is going to make an unconditional surrender of Zelensky in Kiev before the election.
Probably.
Before Biden. The only reason which we're still trying to support Ukraine is so Biden is afraid he's going to lose the election. In other words, there's going to be a humiliating defeat before November 2024 in Ukraine. So they've already lost, but it's going to be obvious everyone lost, and that way Putin is interfering in the election, but we interfered in his stuff too. So tit for tat.
So real quick, thank you. I appreciate your time. I have to drop because I have a space I've got to join here, but I want to give you a moment to plug anything that you want to plug. But before that, I want to go ahead and just make you an honorary member of MH370X. We look into advanced science.
No, maybe I remember that bullshit.
Oh no, I made you.
You don't know.
Hey,
listen. Let me just say, don't just listen. My final words.
I'm just messing.
What you're saying may have happened. I don't know if it happened or not happened.
I know.
Okay, it may have happened, but you don't know. You have no information because that evidence you presented is worthless until you get it. Okay, you send the files to Juan, and if Juan is able to get his friends to work on it, and if they say it's legitimate, then you have something. Right now, you got nothing.
Oh, no, but the organization MH370X isn't necessarily just based on the videos. It's just about advanced science, which I appreciate you showed us here today, which was amazing. So thank you for going through those equations and everything with me today. I thought it was awesome. I appreciated the political commentary as well. I thought it was very interesting. I think we don't get a lot of that.
Okay, but understand that in order to be in order not to be just a propagandist, just to be some flake that's pushing all kinds of bullshit, doesn't know this, like all the other flakes, like Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, all these assholes, all these idiots. They're just spreading some of the stuff. Some of it is true, some of it isn't true, but they're too stupid to know what's true or not, or what methods are. That if you want to present evidence, make sure you got real evidence and not bullshit that you got off the internet.
Absolutely. So
that's it.
Thank you, sir. Do you want to plug anything real quick as well? I know you've.
What?
Do you want to plug any, anything you're working with or working on?
Okay. I'll plug. Get The Great Race by David Gladstone on Amazon. $5, and you'll get some decent information.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Jack. Have a great day, sir. Appreciate you, Dr. Sarfatti, and everybody else who's been following. Awesome. Thank you guys very much.
Okay. So how many people